Good evening. Hello. What is up, everybody? And my friend Peter with me instead of Matt Kennedy, still on mute, of course, because he wants to remain silent, or he forgot. I don't know. Let's see if he tells us the truth. Let's see if he tells us what that was. Hey, Peter.
Hey, how are you doing, Ruben?
I'm doing very, very good this week. Thank you. I'm feeling good. I'm happy to have you join me today. So that makes me happier. Gives me a lot of energy. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, good. You're looking snazzy. That's always good. Outdoing me, of course. That's good. That's all right. I'm good with that.
Keep up standards.
I'm definitely lowering the bar on that one tonight.
Well, you're the host. You can do anything you want.
That's true. Hey, everybody. Just want to let you know that if you're wondering, hey, where's Matt Kennedy? So what happened, I can tell you. So just a few days ago, three days ago, I want to say maybe Friday. It was looking like I was just going to do another hangout episode, but truthfully, what happened was I realized, I like to break up the monotony from time to time. Kind of, it's too much, too many in a row. It's too much. I want to do something different, and so I thought, well, in order for me to do something different, I said, I could do one of the Stopping Insanity adjacent shows. And I certainly wasn't going to ask Matt, hey, you want to do a show with me in 3 days? I typically, I let him reach out to me when he's ready. But with 3 days notice, I wouldn't want to do that to him and make him feel pressured. So I thought, you know what? Even though I said I keep these shows, even the adjacent shows, and keep them just for me and Matt together, I realized, I've kind of been realizing for months, though, honestly, or maybe even over a year now, that I in order for me to break up the monotony from time to time, I can't keep waiting for Matt to do all those shows with me. So what I thought about 3 days ago was, the main one is Stop the Insanity. That's the main series. That's the most popular one. I'll for sure save that until, he's able to do those episodes. But I thought, okay, Insanity Wins, of which this is only the second episode. I've only ever done one other one. Goes to show it speaks a lot. You guys, those of you watching, especially you new watchers, will learn why it's only the second episode. It's because that's how rarely transactions end up as winners when selling at auction less than 5 years after owning the artwork. Okay. So we only had one other episode, 15 examples tonight, another 15. And that's how rare it is that, rare it is to make money selling art after holding it for less than 5 years. And you go through the auction process on the resale. So I figured for this show, I will, if I ever need to break up monotony of hangout episodes, too many hangout episodes, I'll do more of these. And I may, as much as I'd like to hold them for Matt, I probably will from time to time just do Hold for the Gold, either by myself or with my friend Peter, or, some other friend who would like to be here with me. Just because I can't always keep waiting for Matt. Matt, as you guys know, with the Stop the Insanity and the adjacent shows, even with 3 different series that are all related to each other, look how rarely we do these episodes. We seem to average one every 4 months or something. That's just not enough. So I'll have to do them on my own or with other people from now on. And so that's why Matt's not here, but I'm very, very happy to to have Peter with me. So thank you again, Peter. Really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Sorry Matt couldn't make it, but I'll try to do my best.
Oh yeah, it's good. Like I said, everybody, don't expect. Don't think that oh well, Peter's placing Matt, so he's gonna have all this stuff to sort of expound on the virtues of selling too early or too late or what. That's not what Peter's here for. He's here to just keep me company, banter back and forth and react to whatever I say if he wants to. That's it. So don't get on his case if he doesn't start speaking for 20 minutes like Matt does. All right. And Matt's full of great information all the time. I know that. Two different people. That's not what Peter's here for. He's just here to keep me some company. And yeah, man, just have some fun with you guys. Spend a couple hours together. So
I'm in the Ed McMahon to your Johnny Carson, unfortunately.
My Johnny Carson. All right. Wow. I'll take it, I guess. Johnny Carson is pretty well beloved, I guess. And so is Ed McMahon. Okay. So I'm definitely not going to be reading all these comments. Why did my oh, look at that, guys. Look at that live. Okay. See, my new phone is pinging. I guess I should put it maybe under the table, so maybe you guys don't hear that, and hopefully I don't hear it as much. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to skip all the messages because there's literally 91 as we speak right now. Only 8 minutes into this episode, 91 comments. And yes, I know that there's at least 60-70% of them are hellos back and forth with each other, but that still leaves a few dozen that are other comments. So I'll go in just so we can see the names. Maybe I'll shout you guys out verbally and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, because there's like 4 times as many comments right now as there are viewers. And Carlos Mo, Marcus Way, hello. Mike Asbill, what's happening? And back again, indeed, Mr. Red Jack, what's good? Tom, Marvel fan, #1 Marvel fan. He's still the #1 Marvel fan, apparently. CJ Design, what's happening? And who else? And that's very nice of you. Thank you, Mr. Red Jack. I appreciate it. If you like the energy Ruben brings, check out his past episodes when you can. Decide if you want to subscribe and join the fun. That's so nice of you. Look at that. What he said, everybody. What he said. All I ask, no need to subscribe, but if you want to hit the like button, the thumbs up button, that's appreciated. And let me see who else is here. John Brown's here. What's happening, John? And don't come around here no more. You got it, baby. You got it. I actually thought that was really clever, Tom. I have to say, it was coincidence. When I decided a few days ago that I was like, you know what? I'm going to do an Insanity Wins episode, And I'm just sitting here deciding, okay, how do I start working on the episode? I'm always kind of singing music in my head. And suddenly, Tom Petty came into my head. Even the Losers, a classic song, 1979, for anybody who's familiar with the older Tom Petty stuff. And I was like, even the Losers, get lucky sometime. And I'm like, wait a second. Holy shit. That's exactly what tonight's episode is all about. However, I do want to clarify. I don't want to insult him. I'm not here to insult anybody. I want to clarify that the little, double entendre there with the Tom Petty lyrics, even the Losers get lucky sometime. I am not in any way thinking of any collector per se. The Losers part of it, I'm referring to the transactions because as those of you who've been here often enough know already, and for those of you who don't know, I already mentioned a few minutes ago, when selling at auction or reselling at auction, having owned the art less than 5 years, in the vast majority of cases, you will likely lose money. Okay? Only roughly 15% of the time do people still make money, or break even or better. And so that's what I'm referring to. So the transactions that we're going to see tonight that are typically, tonight they're winners. These are the exceptions to the rule. Okay, these are the 15% or so that did not lose money selling at auction less than 5 years after owning the artwork. But usually they're losers, and that's what that catchphrase refers to. It's the transactions are usually losers, but sometimes they get lucky and they become winners 15% of the time. That's what I'm referring to. It's not referring to any collectors or sellers or whatever. All right, so let's get that clear. And who else is here? Murdoch, good evening. Jeff Wedding, what's happening, sir? David Barr in Australia, good to see you. Alberto, what's happening, man? Who do we got? Sonny's in the house. Haven't seen you in a while, Sonny. Good to see you. And we also have Rick Welch. Good evening to you, sir. MLB, as always, 2 minutes late. That's okay. I'm 10 minutes late replying to your comment. So it's all good, man. Good to see you again. And all right, everybody with the hellos. So let me keep skipping through and trying to see. And I'm trying to do this fast. So if I forget you and if I don't notice you and I don't say hello to you, I apologize. It's not on purpose. What's up, Ian? And who else? Ian Saint just came in a few minutes back. And here we go. Mike Dellery, NFN Art, Peter Roe. This is going to be a fine show. You see? You see? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeedy. Matt only likes to show up when people lose money. You can tell him that. I think he'll argue it. And let me see. Anybody else who's here? I know not everybody watching live bothers to comment. That's okay too. But let me see. Oh, Jason Ladwig. There's another one. My buddy Jason. What's good, Jason? And who else? Anybody else? Let's see. Oh, we got Mickey. Peter! Look how excited he is. Oh, yeah. Speaking of excited, it's so funny, Mickey. So Mike Perkins, he we were chatting privately the other day, and he emails me this picture of Mickey at the convention. I guess I don't know, somewhere in the UK. I guess it was, or maybe Europe. Well, he was there recently, and he was sitting there. He's at the convention, and he's sitting behind Barry Kitson's booth, and Barry and Caitlin were not there, and so it's just him, and he's just kind of like, and it's a side shot. So I think Mike took. I think it was Mike who took the picture directly from the side, but it's hard to tell if he's sleeping or just bored. I can't see the eyes well, you know. I just thought it was funny. He just kind of looked, at the very least, bored out of his mind, waiting for the next customer. Nobody wanted to approach him because they were like, Barry Kitson? That ain't no Barry Kitson. So there you go. Just thought that was a funny little thing that Mike did for me. Give me a good little laugh. So thank you for partaking in that, Mickey. Let me see. Who else do we have, everybody? Let me see. Anybody else? Frank Brockle in the house. Sorry, Peter, I was thinking of us more of a Vanna. I was thinking you as more of a Vanna White. That means you can see the beauty in Peter. At least younger-ish Vanna White, you know? Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You're the pen to his teller? Or am I the pen to his teller? Hyder! Hey, what's happening, Hyder? Well, I hope you hang around a little while tonight. Yes, MLB saying that I was late 2 minutes tonight. That's true. By my clock, it was still 1 minute. I hadn't reached the second minute yet. And let me see. We've got Rich Donnelly. And Rich, thank you for the like, Rich. Rich suddenly has become CA Rich Donnelly, which I guess you probably changed it on purpose to mean California, Rich Donnelly. You know, to separate yourself from the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Iowa, Rich Donnelly? I don't know. But I have to assume it's not one of those weird YouTube things. But yeah, I don't know. But Ruben the Pat Sajak. Oh, funny. Okay, so everybody, let me see. Have I gone through all the comments? It looks like I don't know.
This is kind of like the Wheel of Fortune.
In what way is it the Wheel of Fortune?
You lose some, you win some.
That's true. That is true. Although, yeah, in Wheel of Fortune, I guess there is more losing than there is winning in Wheel of Fortune, so that's probably true, you know. Suck it, the Trebek. The good old days of SNL. Hey, another new guy popped in. Shaggy Wong. What's happening? Ruben and Peter. Yeah, good evening to you, Shaggy. What's happening? And Rick would like to buy a vowel. And I guess CA could be comic art Rich Donnelly, or California Rich Donnelly. Either way, it works. Scott's just walked into the room. Enter all ye who shall like to be here for the next few hours. What's happening, Scott? Lovely to have you. Thank you for being here. And wow, people keep popping in. And Maki Poo Michael Reyes. What's happening, Michael? Good to see you as well. And what is Alberto saying? Good thing Ruben said he was not going to go through the Hey, trust me. I meant one comment at a time. I wasn't going to hit every comment. That's what I meant. And I'm actually caught up. Oh, look at that. I was right. Look at that. CA was for California, but I will take comic art. That's what I'm saying. There you go. It's California Rich in the house. All right. So excellent, everybody. Let me immediately go to some promos. I'll do some quick promos so we get that out of the way, all right? And tonight, I've got actually 3 of them. Actually, even quick shout out before the first promo. Quick shout out. Here we go. Shout out to my newest subs, Danny43ENT. Not sure if I did that last week or not. There was him and a couple of anonymous. And so thank you, you guys. I hope that you enjoy whatever it is that you decide to watch. And you should come and join us live. That's where it's a lot more fun. If you have the time and inclination to do so. All right. So the first, here, let me clip this out of here. So the first promo for tonight is from Newell Stingray. About, I want to say 5 to 6 days ago, he had an art unboxing. He called it Artistic Autopsy. All right. So I won't say anything. I always like, if anybody wants to check it out, it's always more fun for it to be a surprise. So I'm not going to explain what it was, but here you go. I'm putting the direct link to that in the chat. So there you go. Please check that out if you haven't already.
That's pretty catchy.
It is, right? I thought it was a pretty cool name. And it makes you go, like, what the hell is he talking about? What could that be about? It was pretty cool. Now, NSN always likes to, Mike always likes to kind of ruin the surprises from time to time. It's like, it was a powerful piece. Trying to give hints. All right. So then the second promo for this evening is from Lee Parmenter. And this one is a video from, in the last couple days ago, I think. I can't remember, but this week, and he called it An American Literary Classic and My Guest Appearance on a Page. So again, trying to create a little bit of, let me see what he's talking about, right? Some curiosity. So that works good. So I won't say anything. And instead, I will just pop the link once more for that episode into the chat.
That wants me to take a look at that. That's like a cover on a comic book.
Hey there, Ruben, Peter, and all you chatter. Look at that. What a perfect timing. He comes in. I think he likes to wait. He wants to see, is he gonna promote my video this week? As if I never have. And then it's like, okay, oh look, he's promoting. Okay, as soon as he's about to get to me, I'll say hi, everybody, to make it look like it's a coincidence. I just stepped in. Oh, that's funny. What timing you have indeed, man. That's funny. But yeah, it's a fun video. He's got some art and some non-art kind of stuff, whatever. If you look at the one from 12 days ago, if you haven't seen that one, check that out. Also, that's the second to last video he did. So yeah, that's pretty fun. Who's peeking out from under a stairway? Calling a name that's lighter than air. Who's bending down to give me a rainbow? Everyone knows it's Wemby. Wembanyama? I don't know. That one went over my head. Just got back from Monster Palooza. Is that musical or a monster convention kind of thing? The Palooza is usually music related, but I don't know. Okay, so let me see. So sorry. Okay, so I got that one in there. So please check out these videos if you have time. And you'll like unboxings. And then, last but certainly not least, Nikki didn't get back to me in time. I had to ask him a question when he sent me the link to his show for this Friday. Because what happened was, so Nick sends me the link, and I see that the link goes to the video, and it's got a specially made thumbnail for it, right? But here's the thing. I don't know who makes those thumbnails. This is not the first time there has been like a mistake on it. If it's indeed a mistake. I don't know, Nikki. But so in the email Nick sent me, it says, you wouldn't like me at all, Hulk sale. Okay? That's what the subject line says. You wouldn't like me at all, Hulk sale. But on the graphic, there's no double L on all. So, and there's no hyphen before Hulk sale. So if you see it, it reads, you wouldn't like me at a Hulk sale. which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I thought it was really funny. I emailed Nikki back to try to tell me, hey, which one is it supposed to really be? None of them really make a lot of sense, but whatever. But he didn't get back to me in time. So I'm gonna pop in the link so you guys can go check that out right now. Click the link now and tell me what you think, because you'll see what it says on the graphic. It says, you wouldn't like me at a Hulk sale. And the subject line is, you wouldn't like me at all, Hulk sale. Anyway, so there you go, everybody. There are your promos for this week. Thank you very much. And yeah, that's about it. Anybody else saying anything? Spencer show painful to watch, says Tom. Very painful. Oh, I guess that must have been the replacement show. Very painful. Wow, what happened? Holy shit! Now I want to know what happened. That might be good promo for that Friday episode, Tom. People will be like,
he was on painkillers because of
oh, really?
Leg, and he was in considerable pain. And he actually nodded off a couple times. Apologized profusely.
He nodded off live on camera?
Just for a second or two. Yeah.
Wow.
But
so very one of those medications with drowsiness as one of the main side effects, I guess, right?
Yeah. He would talk normally, and then he would just sort of, I don't know, kind of drop off a bit. Otherwise, he did fine.
Okay. Well, Tom thinks it was the worst of all time, apparently. So,
yeah. It's a bit It's concerning, and at least he did announce that he's diabetic free. He doesn't have diabetes anymore, which is a huge achievement.
He had diabetes?
He had diabetes, and he's kicked it. You
can kick diabetes? I've never heard that.
Well, you can
control it, but I don't think you can kick it.
No, he did apparently, and you can. I think you can regulate it. You know, I guess it can happen on occasion.
Marcus said he has to admit he nodded off during the show too. Okay, all right. And he sold one piece to Mike Dellery. Which Mike? There's like a billion Mikes, no?
I think Mike Asbell.
Mike Asbell, maybe? Okay. So the whole thing was a sales show. Well, it's never anything else other than the sales show when Spencer takes over. But so only one piece was sold. I guess that can get boring. But shit happens, man. You know, I've had some pretty lackluster results on my, online live sales. So it happens. Stingray and I had fun dinner last night while I was, you're on the East Coast. Cool. Nice, Jeff. Type 2. Yeah, I thought that was the most common one, though, type 2. So I think that's what I thought. You couldn't kick that. It's the most common. Well, you learn something every day, I guess, MLB says you can get rid of some types. Just don't eat anything you enjoy. Interesting. Okay. Rick says, I did a quick rewind skim and almost nodded off. You're on rewind. Imagine on rewind. You're still almost nodding off. That's crazy, man. And Mike Asbell, it has been clarified, got a commish. And he says, Mike himself says he thought the piece was very nice. Well, I certainly hope so if you bought the thing. Not me. I didn't see any vertigo art. Well, point well taken there. Point well taken, Mike. Okay. And Tom says it was a great deal. Excellent. Well, good. Happy for you. It's always great to get stuff you like, art you like, and especially if you feel it's at a good price. So, okay, everybody. So thank you for all of that, and I think we're gonna dive right into the show now. And so once again, I do this for those of you watching, listening, who don't usually come here. If you're new, especially. So you understand what tonight is about. It is that I usually do a series of shows called Stop the Insanity. It refers to the people who resell their comic art after owning it for less than 5 years, and they sell it specifically at auction houses. The data has shown us that when you do that, you are likely to lose money approximately 85% of the time. And so since there is approximately 15% of the time where those transactions actually break even or make money, I thought I want to be fair. I like to play both sides of the fence. And I'm doing this tonight's episode. It's the second episode of Insanity Wins. Insanity refers to the action, the act of selling things at auction after owning them for less than 5 years, okay? And so sometimes 50% of the time, approximately, those doing that will still break even or make you money. And so that's why I call this Insanity Wins. And so that's what tonight is about. Tonight, we're going to see the exceptions to the rule. So tonight is for the flippers, speculators, and I guess short-term investors. All right? Give them some love. And we can show that sometimes they do indeed make money, okay? And so that's it. So that's what tonight is about. And before we get into the first piece, let me take a few last comments. We should follow the advice of this show. Buy and sell fast. If you're new here, do not listen to Marcus Way. And do you feel lucky? Do you, punk? Thank you, CJ. Yes, 32. We're up to 36 now. 3 dozen. That's good. Only 21. Those of you watching and not really paying too much attention to that thumb icon right where I'm pointing, somewhere below here, that's the like button, if you don't mind. It doesn't give me money. It's just some encouragement to see. I like to try to get at least 50 to 60, at least 50, try to break 50 likes per episode. That's it. Just encouragement. I would appreciate that. No need to subscribe if you're new. I don't need that. In fact, I don't want that. Don't ask me why. I don't have time to explain it right now. But hit the like if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. Unless you buy Quintana, then it's 100% profit. Or 100,000% profit, apparently. One can make money if selling privately under 5 years. Right. Yeah. Privately is the key, right? It's where you go to sell it that makes all the difference. You're usually going to lose if you're going to resell it at auction, which is why Matt and I usually, always, actually, not usually, always stress, at least try to find a buyer for your stuff one-on-one, publicly on any website, whatever website is, of choice, before you go to auction, the auction route, John Cogan in the house. What's happening, man? Thought you were going to be there. Just got back with my daughter. What is happening? You went to Monster Palooza, apparently. A monster makeup show. And buy from dealers, hold for at least 6 months, send to auction, preferably Comic Link. Again, if you're new and you're watching this, do not take MLB advice. You will most certainly lose money doing what he just told you to do. Okay. Already flipped. Let's see what else. What's happening, Corey? Good to see you. And 15% of the time, it works every time. Oh boy. Darian's back. Darian C8. What's happening? Hold for the gold. This is the way. And hi to my lovely wife who didn't pop in with a comment because she was out of the house, but is now popping in. Oh my God! Not only into the studio live. Wow!
This side.
Hi.
Just got home from going with her sister to visit our nephew, who just got back from what? The Netherlands, you said? Norway. Oh, nice, Norway. There you go. So let's see. Darian. Everybody saying hello to Darian. What's happening? What can buy from Anthony and flip for profit? Do it, Tom. The faster you resell it, the faster you get your money back so you can buy more. And you keep getting back less and less each time you do that. And hi, Vivienne. Hello from CJ. Hey, Vivienne from Rick.
Hi.
Vivienne from Tom. Give Ruben a kiss for us from Marcus. Hello, Mrs. Ruben from Shaggy Wong. She says, "Oh, that's nice." And I like Vivienne's haircut from Lee. And you what?
I like my haircut too.
Oh, look at that. She says, "I like my haircut too." She's very modest as well, apparently, you can see, And I hear Ruben said he wasn't going to read all the chat. It's not all. Trust me, I skipped a lot. Griffin Fritzroy. What's happening? Tell me I'm pretty. You're pretty. All right. All right, everybody. Oh, and we just, Tom's missing my mohawk. I told you, don't call it a mohawk. It wasn't a mohawk. But thank you anyways. I appreciate it. So now we're up to like 40 people. So that's nice. 3.5 dozen. That's a good group. Keep in mind that I will be the one doing most of the talking here tonight. And while I'm doing that, I'll be talking while the thumbnail is up. And of course, I'll be referring to the information, the financial information and stuff. So I got to focus on that. That means maybe while I'm talking about the art, maybe slow down on the commenting, relax, chill, because I will not be able to address those comments. Yeah, so that's it. Just a warning, fair warning. And the faux hawk right on. And Ruben, the gladiator. Yeah, so that's it. So interesting tonight, just so you guys know. Sometimes everybody wonders what kind of order. Is there any order we're going to look at the stuff tonight in? Just alphabetical by title. Okay. So that's it. So just the title of the artwork. alphabetically. So yeah, so that's that. So I did not set up like, the last piece to be, oh, look at this crazy result. Boom, the last one. No, I didn't do that. It's just all alphabetical. Okay. Corey says, Peter is very, very loud tonight. Yeah. Lee says, yeah, really, Peter, get control of yourself. CJ, keep it down, Peter. You guys are all joshing. I love it. I love it. That's what he's here for.
I'm waiting for Tom to say, calm down.
Yeah, I think he said it. Well, Marcus said it. Here you go. Calm down. Well, question mark. Calm down. But okay. Yes, let's do this. Let me cue this up, everybody. Let me see. The first one. Okay. So fantastic. Here we go. We're going to start with the first example tonight of insanity wins. And let me, especially for those of you who are newer in the hobby, and if you're here to try to learn something, I think you'll learn a few things. And I'm going to show you that aside from the fact that we've kind of established, these series of shows that we do here, the insanity and insanity adjacent shows, aside from the fact that we've pretty much established that reselling artwork in less than 5 years at auction results in losses roughly 85% of the time, okay? Not only have we pretty much seen that the data has established that as pretty much as a fact, but in fact, an additional fact, you're going to see tonight, and I'll explain more in detail as we get to certain examples. These 15 examples, they're not even, we can argue, you'll see soon enough, we can argue that roughly, I didn't really count them, as I was working on them, I kind of noticed. I'm thinking anywhere from 3 to 5 out of the 15. They're here on technicalities because they fit the sold in less than the 5 years, technically, okay? And technically it shows green with a profit, but you'll see when we get to those examples that, yeah, we're going to probably be able to say, hey, that could go in one of the hold for the gold examples. So you'll see what I mean when we get to those. Which means that the percentage of losers when you do insanity, when you commit insanity, the percentage of losers over the long run, it's starting to look like it's even less, higher than 85%. So the winners are probably closer to verging closer to 90% rather than 85. But anyways, I haven't done a count in a while, but just something to keep in mind. Okay, so let me see. Last minute. I once fucked at Comic Link. Bid on a Cocker X-Men page from the 150s run 3 weeks before the auction ended and wound up winning it by only bid to watch the auction. I told them sorry and relist it in the next. What? Are you admitting you committed the ultimate sin of bidding on an auction and then telling them I don't want to pay for it, relist it? Or do you mean you paid for it, you did the right thing, you got screwed buying it, you didn't expect to buy it or win it, you won it, so you paid for it, but rather than have them ship it, you just said, okay, put it back into the next auction. Hopefully you did that.
Yeah, I'll wait for him to clarify. It sort of sounds like he just put a tracking bid in. He won. He didn't really want to win, so he asked them to pull back the sale.
Right.
He did not pay for it. Yeah.
It turns out it sold for $10 more than I didn't pay for it. Whoa, he didn't pay for it. I also sent a few pages from my collection that I wanted to move. They must have been pissed. How did they not ban you? Typically, when people just say, oh, I didn't intend to win it, that's your problem, right? It's still your responsibility. If you put a bid in, that's a legally binding bid. So usually when people do that and admit that that's what they did and that they don't want to pay for it, typically they'll ban you. They won't let you participate in their auctions again. Really weird, John.
Can I just ask, have you had a conversation with any of the auction houses about what their rules are with regard to that? Because I suspect that there might be, we'll let it pass once, don't do it again, and then if you repeat offender, then they cut you off.
Yeah. Oh, he said yes. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Hey, you're lucky you didn't get banned for doing that. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Long time ago. Okay, fair enough. I hope you learned the lesson, though. Don't do that. Because if I was the auction owner, you could be my best friend of all time, my lifelong friend since, we grew up together since kindergarten. And if you did that to me and it's my, and it's on my auction house, I would ream you out like crazy. Like I would tell you off so bad. Like that is not cool. You can't do that, man. Because the integrity of the auction's at stake. You know what I mean? It undermines the integrity of the entire bidding, winning, losing, paying, auction. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Cab, what's happening? Hey, Cab. And one time on Heritage, the bidding was $1,900. I went to bid $2,000, but the increment jumped to $20,000. So I refused to honor my bid. How's that possible? I don't know if you're being serious or not, but I don't know how that's possible. Been billing through them for a while. Okay.
I also think probably they look at how much you've bought over, a period of time, and they go, okay, this is a great customer. We're going to let this, slide one time because we want to keep this customer.
I mean, Lee said he once bid on a Heritage item from his phone, and he added one more number. I think he means one more digit, so it made it a much bigger thing. He called them, and they withdrew the bid. I mean, that's legit. If if you're making, $500 look like $5,000 by mistake, I know you're scared. You could get bid up, So I understand that. That makes more sense, Never placed watch bids on Comic Link. Well, don't. I know. I used to do that years and years ago. I can't be bothered anymore. Just whatever. Yes, Cab, we need more calf posts, buddy. Damn, Marcus, that's crazy. Okay, once at Bandcamp. It was an incremental bid 3 weeks before the auction ended. Oh, so it didn't end. Oh, sorry. Okay, I understand. Sorry. Oh. That's totally different. Right. I thought the auction ended. Okay. Yeah. So you put it in and asked them to okay, I get it.
That clears it up. Yeah.
I get it. Cab, you said you couldn't stay, but here you are. I dislike bidding on the phone, not as dexterous as the younger individuals. Tell me about it. Wow. I don't know how you guys love to play on your phones all the time, man. Trying to write texts or whatever. There's constant errors, typos all the time because the buttons are so small. Ugh. And there's Nicky B himself asking everybody to say, to hit thumbs up. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Thank you. And Nick, we already did the promos. So I got your promos in. You should go back and try to look for it. Or wait a few hours after tonight's show ends. And when I break it up into chapters, one of the chapters I always put is for the promos. And then you will see that I had a bit of a laugh. I had a bit of a laugh with it for good reason. So go back and check it out. And you're very welcome. And I use iPad, blah, for bidding. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay, excellent. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Let us get into this. As I said, I queued up the first image for tonight's Insanity Wins episode. And let's start it off. You ready to go, Peter?
Let's do it. Next.
All right. So let's check this out. The first one we're going to take a look at tonight is The Amazing Spider-Man 337, page 19, by Erik Larsen and Terry Austin. Purchased in November of 2018 for almost $15,000 at Comic Link. All right. And I thought it was interesting, too. It's been so long since I bought this off the stands. I don't remember Terry Austin inking an issue around this era, but there you go. So that's interesting. And then, so the person who bought this in November of 2018 then sold it, sent it back to auction, 3 years and 2 months later. So, in terms of people who sell in less than 5 years, 3 years, 2 months, that's actually on the longer side. I think we can all agree that flippers and speculators, they want their money much faster than, a few years down the road. So that certainly, played in its favor, holding onto it for a few years. And he actually bought it at Comic Link, sent it to Heritage. And so you can make of that what you guys will, because if you think about it, there's so many ways to look at, the data. If you look here and you think, oh, check it out. If you look at just the selling price, what the buyers paid, right? So this one paid $14,750, while this one paid $2,400, right? So it's like over $5,000, $5,500, right? And of course, because of the middleman taking their cut, in this case, Heritage, that potential profit goes down to $2,250. So all things considered, nothing. There's nothing to knock when you're making a $2,250 profit after 3 years. But for putting out $15,000, it's also not a ton of money to get back. When you're tying it up for $15,000 for 3 years, it only results obviously in a 15.25% increase on your investment, so to speak. But also keep in mind, everybody, what it says in brackets under net profit. On all the examples here tonight, we will always be assuming that the seller got a no seller fee deal. In other words, they were not charged any seller fee. The reality is that probably several of the pieces we'll see tonight did have at least some level of seller fee, whether that be 5%, 10%. And just to put more context on it, keep in mind that when you are at a $2,250 profit, okay, representing 15.25% gain, if this seller actually did have a 5 to 10% seller fee on top of losing the buyer fee, he would be looking pretty much most likely at a loss right now, And so that's one of the ways I was mentioning earlier that tonight we're going to see that, yes, I'm counting all 15 examples tonight as wins, but in reality, several of them may actually, in fact, be, when you count up all the expenses down to the last dollar, some of them may actually be losses, all right? But since we don't know all the details of, sales taxes, we don't know who pays sales taxes, who don't, and so that's why we don't, everybody knows that there could also be sales taxes, but since we don't know for sure, we don't really talk about the sales tax.
Can
Yeah.
That's a question. How do you find these examples? How do you what's your
so very easy. So I explained it on one of the earlier episodes. So for many years, I mean, basically since I started in the hobby, whenever I would see art pages that I liked online, knowing that they're one of a kind, knowing that I may be seeing it on eBay or somewhere else for sale, that image may disappear, right? Like once the transaction's over, I may never see that image again, and I never see the art again. Like, who knows? And so I thought, well, if I like the page, I want to keep a record of it that I so I know that, hey, this page, existed on the market. It has been on the market before, I've seen it. And so I would just save the images to my hard drive, right? And so over the years, those images built up into the tens of thousands of images, right? And so when you're doing this for now decades, right, every time there's like an auction, I'm like, oh, okay, let me save the images of all the pieces that I like. So I'm saving a lot of images. And so what happens is, of course, I'll go to save this random piece, right? And I'll save the scan. And as I go to put it in my folder, I see, oh, I already have that one in there because it sold before, you know, or it was in somebody's collection, let's say. And so, yeah, so I see, I sold it before. And over the last few years, I began not only saving them, but saving them with the sales price, you know? And so when I see that, I'm like, oh, look at that. 2 sales of the same piece. And then I can determine, okay, well, what dates did they sell? And then at that point, will that be a good example for a hold for the gold episode or for Insanity Wins episode, you know, or stop the insanity episode? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So that's basically what happens.
So, I mean, that's a lot of work after a signature auction, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. It's hours and hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
so
crazy.
like in a signature auction, how many pieces are you saving to your folder?
That I don't know. I've never counted. I mean, I can only tell you that I typically track, like on Heritage. I could be tracking typically anywhere from 175 lots to 300 lots or more. How many of those do I, like enough to want to save the image for? I don't know. I've never counted, but it's a minority. It's not the majority. I just can't. I can't spend that much time. But still, even being the minority, it still takes hours. It's pretty crazy. So.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. Yeah.
But that's it. I like to do it. So, and I used to do it just like I said, just to have the images on file. But since I started doing these YouTube series, it's more for that I continue to save. I try to save as many images as I can because that's how I find out. Oh, okay, this one sold. Just to give me more data and more examples to show on these YouTube shows. Yeah, a lot of work, but how else would I do it? You can't just go looking for things randomly. Like, hey, let me check random pages by this artist and see if they've sold more than one. You can't really do that, right? Yeah, so that's it. So there you go. There you have it, Peter. Yes, I'm a crazy.
I mean, how you did it, because there's just no way that you could do it like the last way you said. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one.
Right.
You have to have some kind of database or save something over time.
Right, exactly. And there you go. Alex, hey, what's up, Alex? Says, just FYI, this page will be in the upcoming HA auction in July. And I haven't looked yet, Alex, but I'm sure I would have seen it again. And believe me, Alex, this happens a lot where I have examples. Listen, certain pieces get resold over the years often enough that I've already shown them. I've had multiple pieces that have made appearances on Stop the Insanity, so they took a big loss or even a small loss, but a loss, right? And then they sold again, and I used that as an example of this show, Insanity Wins, because it was resold quickly and it somehow made money. And I've had examples where, again, the same page sold and we could use it on hold for the gold because they held on and sold it, more than 5 years after owning it for more than 5 years. So, anything can happen because, like I said, a lot of this stuff just keeps getting resold, certain pieces especially. So, Dwayne's a pain. Good evening to you, sir. And look at Tom. It says, that seems mental. That's just what I've always done. What can I tell you? Let me see. That's something a sycophant might do, Ruben. Maybe. I don't know. I'm all, I don't know. Well, tell me. Tell us. Tell everyone. Let us all know, Tom. Do you do that as well? Then we'll know. Celebrity dating too. Oh, boy. Okay, glad we could provide some laughs for you, Scott. But okay, let's get on to the next example here. All right, then. Thank you for everybody viewing. We're up to 44 people. Thanks, everybody. And once again, if you don't mind, if you've just popped in, please stick around. And if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up icon somewhere right where I'm pointing below here, the screen. I'd appreciate that. Don't need to subscribe if you are new and you haven't subscribed. I don't need you to subscribe. That's fine. I'd appreciate that. So yeah, let me go into the pile of images and let's queue up the next one here. Really cool piece of art. I really enjoy this next one. Let's check it out. So it is Astonishing Tales. How's that? I thought you might like this one, Peter. It's Wally Wood, pencils and inks, which is a Dr. Doom splash, and that's a lot of fun. From a fun little series, Astonishing Tales, that had some good Wally Wood stuff in it. So here we go. This one was purchased in April, so 1 month into COVID, everyone. All right, April of 2020 on Heritage. And this one was purchased on Heritage for $21,600. And Peter, let me ask you, do you think this one will be a lot higher, a good profit, a negligible profit? What's your gut feeling here? Even though you don't obviously know how long they held on to it before selling, you know, what's your gut telling you?
I'd say maybe a good profit. But that I'm predisposed to think Wally Wood is going to generate a big profit.
Yeah,
particularly, you know, someone who purchased it, you know, just at the beginning of the pandemic. We're selling it after the price bump, pandemic price bump. So
yeah,
we'll see.
All right, let us check it out. Rickster is guessing 35K. CJ's guessing 2,543 up. Whatever that means, CJ. Yeah, let me check it out. Let us see what it results in. So remember, April 2020. All right, and here's the resale.
Oh God.
Okay, so check it out, guys. If there was ever an example of, you know, a good example of, you know, why you should definitely try to hold as long as possible, this is one of those good examples, because here we go. Here's an example where the gentleman paid over $20,000 to buy this, and then he pretty much did hold it for a little bit short of 5 years, right? 4 years, 10 months later. And okay, it sold for $26,000. All right, but check this one out. Remember, $21,600 is what he paid. And so if you go and think, all right, well, it's $4,400 more than the previous time, which is not a lot, especially after holding it for 5 years. But then you've got the middleman, in this case, Comic Link, their selling fee. And so even though it's not a lot, it's a 10% selling fee, that reduces the net profit to only $1,800. Now, you know, congratulations to whoever it was that sold it. It's to me, when you're investing over $20,000 in a piece of art and you hold it for 5 years, netting $1,800 in your pocket is not impressive at all. Unfortunately, that's just not a good result. Okay, it results in the equivalent of an 8.33% return after 5 years. You know, and so that's it. Yeah. So listen, again, congratulations to the seller, because at least, you know, you did not lose money. Okay, you didn't lose money. You were able to make it as one of the very rare examples of people who sold less than 5 years. Although, again, I'll give it to you and say that essentially 4 years, 10 months is essentially five years. But that bears me reminding everyone that it's not an exact science, Okay, it's not an exact mathematical equation. So it's not to say that, hold it for 5 exact years to the day, and then you're guaranteed to start breaking even or making money. No, it's around the 5-year mark. So a little bit short of 5 years, you can make money. A little bit short of 5 years, you can still lose money, right? A little bit, hold on to it for a little more than 5 years, you start usually in most cases breaking even, negligible profits, and in some cases start to making a decent profit. But sometimes even a year extra. So 6 years hold period. You're only then kind of breaking even. So again, it just goes to show the longer you hold, the better. Think of it as long-term investing, just like in the stock market. You'll always do way better financially if you take that approach. Any other financial approach is going to end up resulting in a lot worse results. And that's just not an opinion from me. That is what all the data has shown. If you are selling either after holding for 5 years or before 5 years, and always we refer to the resale happening at auction, okay, which is the way that most people tend to sell their art these days now. Everybody's shifting more and more towards the auction houses, not only for buying, but also for selling. A lot of people are just like, oh, whatever, I'll just send it in. And they don't even bother trying to find a buyer for free with no middleman involved on Comic Art Fans or Facebook groups or, Instagram, whatnot, or whatever these things are called. Yeah. So there we go. Should wait until Doom shows on screen. What do you mean?
When he's on a TV show or a movie, when in media, like in TV.
Well, keep in mind, not everybody can afford to wait. People just want their money back. They want to get their money back out. You're not going to wait in hopes that a Dr. Doom appearance will come out, right? And if they're speculating, short-term speculating, especially, it's all about, let me try to get my money. I think I can make money on this. Let me send it into auction. I mean, they don't care about waiting for the next movie appearance to come out because, that's just too long, Thought the Doom movie would pay off. Maybe. RDJ bump. RDJ was announced the previous SDCC. It's crazy how you guys always remember the timing of these things. Corey's asking, Peter, how do you find all your war art? What kind of a weird question is that in the middle of this kind of a show? But go ahead and give him a quick answer. Why don't you, Peter, if you'd like? If there is such a thing as a quick answer to that open-ended question.
I declined to comment.
You heard it here first, Corey. It wasn't me who said it. He did. There you go.
Next.
How does anybody find any of the art they collect? Come on, man. Oh, man. Marcus says, it's basically the advice of Heritage to sell around these announcements and events. Okay, whatever. Their advice is no better than yours or mine or Peter's or whoever, or like it, and nobody needs to tell us that. I mean, everybody knows it gets in the comic books, right? That's what comic books speculating is. It's, let me sell this copy once the hype for the upcoming movie begins or whatever. Everybody knows all that, right? But again, when you're a short-term speculator, flipper type, there's only so many things you can speculate on that are related and tied into upcoming movies you already know are coming, right? So that's the thing. So you really, if you're really interested in trying to make money at it, you just have to, the way to do it is you have to just buy art or comics, whatever your poison is, pick your poison, but you buy the collectible based on, I think I got a good deal. I think this is a good price I'm getting on this. I think I can make money on this. That's why typically people will speculate, because they think they're getting it for lower than the fair market value. And so in their heads, they're basically thinking, I can make some money on this, man. I think I'll pick this up and I'll send it into Heritage or Comically or Hates or Comic Connect, Yeah. And so that's why it is. And, so those people, They don't got time to wait. They just want to get their money back out and see if they're going to make the profit or not, you know? So, yeah.
It's a bit like
okay.
It's addiction.
Yeah. I mean, for some, not all, because obviously we don't know who these people are, right? But in some cases, absolutely, you know? Not all, but yeah.
Hey, can I go back and say, sorry, I didn't mean to be flippant, Corey.
You say what?
I didn't mean to be flippant.
To be flippant towards Corey. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you felt bad. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I don't think he took it personally. He did respond with an LOL. So there you go. He didn't take it personally. But he's still sorry, Corey. He didn't mean to be flippant. Okay, you got that beautiful apology from Peter. So there you go. What's happening, Carl? Good to see you, dude. All right. So let me get back in there and take a look at the next one. And so this is, oh, guys, you're going to love this next one. Oh, yes. Okay. So speaking of examples that have sold often enough that they've made appearances on all the Stop the Insanity and adjacent shows, this is going to be one of those, okay? And you all who watch regularly, you all will remember this piece for sure, because you've already seen it on at least two different shows, yeah. Okay, so this is a piece where when it last made an appearance, it was on an episode of Stop the Insanity, because the seller took a beating of a lifetime to the tune of more than $20-something thousand. Okay. And I put it out there for all of you to tell me your opinion on what you really think this is worth. And we had crazy opinions ranging from as low as like 12,000 to as high as like 45, 46, which was the original price it had sold for. Okay, so let me show you, okay, and we'll talk some more.
Oh, you built it up so much. I'm really interested in seeing which one.
I'm going to show you the color version first, and then because it's a DPS. Check it out. All right. So Champions by John Byrne, Bob Layton, and so you guys who watch regularly will remember, right, that we had it on Stop the Insanity, and the original price was something like $46,000, right? And then it got resold. I don't remember how long the person waited, but it was less than 5 years, and it resold for something in the 21 to 22,000 range, right? So it sold for less than half what it previously did. Now, some of you may remember, I was of the opinion, and let me show you the original art. All right, here we go. I was of the opinion at the time, and I laid out my explanation as to how I would go about valuing something like this. So I'm not going to do it tonight. But I was of the opinion that somewhere in the 21, 22,000 range was pretty fair. What I would feel comfortable with, although I think I also said I could see it perhaps also going, making a case for it being fair in the 25 to 27 range, something like that. And that's when you guys were all, I put it out for you guys to kind of value. And I got I got evaluations as low as 12,000, as I said, and some of you saying, oh yeah, I think it was fair the first time at 40-something thousand. So there you go. So now it's sold again. And the person who got, some of you thought, hey, that's a great deal. I thought it was a good price. I don't know how great of a deal it was, right? But I did remember saying anything can happen if it goes back to auction. But I think I said I couldn't see much downside, okay? Because I do feel like at this price, 21 and a quarter, I do feel it was definitely worth it. So I thought there was a very low floor for this, and there's still quite a lot of potential. I think I did see that anything can happen at auction, and therefore it could, again, potentially sell for a lot higher than this, all right? So let's see what happened. And let's see how long it took to go to be sold. Here we go. Boom! So check it out, Peter. He did not wait very long at all. 1 year, 6 months. So 18 months after buying it, he also must have thought, hey, I got a good deal, right? Less than half of what the last guy paid. And, you know, he sent it back to Heritage, and it went back, and it sold for almost as much as it did the previous, two sales ago before this. I think, like I said, I believe it was 46 and change. So I got pretty close to that again. Of course, because it's Heritage, you know, I mean, think about it. Let's check it out again. Let's calculate this. 21,250. So it sold for literally exactly double. So the sales price, if you compare sales price to sales price, it's exactly to the dollar, 100% more than what the guy who paid 21 and a quarter bought it for. You know,
is it back to the two prices ago where it sold for $40-something thousand? It's back to that price.
Yeah, exactly. So the last confirmed sale is this one here in September of 2025. So less than a year ago.
Oh no, but I mean the two sales ago, it was $40K or something like that.
Yeah, 46 or something like that. Yeah. So I went 46, then 21 and a quarter, and then 42.50. But check it out, just so you guys see what the auction process can do to you. Again, if you just compare the sales prices, it doubled in price, right? It doubled from 21,250 to 42 and a half. So it's 100% increase in terms of the sales prices, but for the seller, it results only in a 60% increase, not 100, because of how hefty the sales commissions are.
What are your thoughts? And you don't have to, maybe you did this last time the piece was on, but why do you think it's at 40 now?
Well, listen, number one, when a piece sells publicly, especially at auction, collectors, it's human psychology, right? It's how people think, right? People have a tendency to believe, not everybody, but a lot of people think, whether subconsciously or consciously, that if it's sold publicly and everybody saw it, then that's the fair market value. Okay? A lot of people believe that that's just a fact. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so you already have, because it's sold at auction already at 46, you're already going to have a certain number of bidders who believe, well, it must have sold for 21 because it was the comic link factor, right? Not as many eyeballs on it, so it sold for less. And sure, maybe part of the reason was that, but the comic link factor, it's not going to typically kill you to the tune of 50% or more than 50% loss. You know what I mean?
Right.
On a 70s John Byrne DPS, you know. So I think a lot of people, they just believe, I saw it sell for that much. So to me, yeah, it could absolutely should be that much. So I believe that the buyer at 21 and a quarter was like, oh my God, it's over. I got it for less than half of what the last guy did. Oh shit, for sure it's got to be closer. It's got to be worth closer to 46 than to 21, you know? And so, yeah, I'll enjoy it for a while and then I'll send it in. We'll see what happens, you know? And he was probably confident thinking, I'll send it to Heritage. And even with their higher fee structure, at that price, 21 and a quarter, less than half of what the previous guy had paid, he's got to be thinking, I can't lose. You know what I mean? It's like, if it goes back anywhere near to where it went before to the guy, what the guy paid before me, even with their fees, I'll still make a good chunk of money. And he's right. Because even with the hefty fees, right? He pays $21.50, but he nets $12,750, right? In 18 months. 18 months, he spent 21 and he got the 21 back plus another 12 3/4 on top of it as a bonus in only 18 months. That's a pretty awesome return, I would say,
Yeah.
So I would say that's definitely one of the stronger examples tonight of insanity winning. That we'll see from the ones that we'll see tonight. So yeah, that's amazing. Good for him, whoever that was. Ahoy! What's up, Steve Mussolino in the house? And yeah, so that's pretty good. Let me see. What else do we got here? Yeah, missed a bunch of comments. Sorry, guys, but I told you, gonna miss a lot of comments while I'm talking. I ain't got no time to go backwards to go look for them. So, let me see. Let's take a new guy question though, because he's pretty new. Darian said, "Oh, talking to Carl's collection. Okay, just got rock bad. I'm whisper. I'm investing. Okay, talking to him." And my thought, I envy the collectors that can roll the dice and play this game on a $20,000 piece. Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. He'd have done better if he had bought ScanDisk stock. Oh, please. In retrospect, you could always say that and cherry pick whatever stock market stock you want to pick, and you'll be right. And that's very, very lucky, though. This might happen once in 500 pieces sold or higher. What? Having it go back to close to what it previously sold for? I don't think that's a 1 in 500. I think the odds were kind of 50-50 or close to 50-50. I felt he would get on a bad day. I felt he would get somewhere around what he paid or a little more. But I also thought that there's a good chance if it's a good hot auction. I thought there was a chance it could get back to what the previous guy had paid for it. I mean, it's a double page splash from the 70s by John Byrne. I mean,
it's X-Men adjacent. There are a couple X-Men on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a battle scene. It's a nice battle scene. So
yeah, exactly. So okay. All right, let us go to the next piece in tonight's show. Good art is hard to find. You know what, Rick? Given the fact that I feel like hundreds of pieces at every heritage auction, and for my personal taste, are considered many different levels of good art. Stuff that I think is like, wow, that's a good piece. Wow, that's a good. I see hundreds at every auction. So it's really not hard to find, apparently. Just keep tuning into all the auctions. But yes, let us move to the next piece, everyone. I just thought that was fun to see because, like I said, we've already had that. I think this is the third time we've seen that, or at least second, anyways. Okay. In the last episode of Hold for the Gold, this next piece was in there. So another example that we're going to see so this next piece qualified in the last episode of Hold for the Gold, which meant the reseller sold it after 5 years. And in fact, I can tell you it was an 11-year hold. I remember it was an 11-year hold, and he sold it and made a ton of money. Okay, so let's take a look at that. All right, and because this first slide we're going to see is what it ultimately sold for on that when the resale of that previous Hold for the Gold episode. That's what this is. Check this out. Okay, so it's the Defenders 11 cover by Sal Buscema. Okay, and so it had initially surfaced and sold 11 years before this. Okay, so in 2011, and I can't remember the price that it was then, but suffice it to say that it was somewhere in the neighborhood of a 400 to 600% increase or something like that. It was, yeah, he had made many tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, and so here we have it. 108,000. It cracked the six-figure barrier. So I got to tell you guys, personally, I was shocked to see this piece get resold after being purchased for $108,000. I mean, me personally, I thought that's a lot of money for an early Defenders cover. I mean, breaking six figures, yeah, to me, a lot of money, but so be it. So I figured if this ever got sold quickly again, I would have bet money that, and I'm not a betting man, which is why I don't bet, of course, because I would have been wrong. I would have bet this would have lost money easily if it got resold quickly. But instead, check out what happened, fellas. Check it out. So that person who bought it in 2022 held on to it for exactly 3 years. And then resold it again at Heritage. That's what kills me even more. Not only did he send it back after only 3 years, he sent it back to Heritage, which has the highest fee structure. To me, in my mind, that was the perfect recipe for losing tens of thousands, like a five-figure sum easily. But instead, it actually sold for 175 grand. Like literally $67,000 more than the previous time. I mean, that is, to me, that's crazy. 67,000 more after just breaking the 100,000 barrier and stopping at 108. I was like, wow, that is nutty, man. But of course, because of fees, he did not take home $67,000 profit. That's just the difference between the two sale prices. So after fees, the gentleman takes home $32,000. But hey, $32,000 profit in 3 years, that's nothing to sneeze at. It's a nice 29.62% increase. So I think, listen, I would have, like I said, I would have sworn that he would have lost his shirt on that, reselling that in less than 5 years after paying $108,000. Woo! Yeah. So
congratulations.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's man. Wow. Yeah. And I gotta also say, take some balls. I think it takes balls, or again, maybe he just felt it was cheap at 108. Who knows, right? But what's up, James? Maybe he thought it was cheap and he just thought, yeah, no, I can make some money out this. I've held long enough for 3 years, you know. I don't know. It just seemed like. Oh, look, Rick says Sal passed away 2 months later. 2 months. You mean 2 months after this last sale? Is that what you mean? When? Yeah, two months after. I don't know, but either way, yeah. Shaggy says, "Oh wow, that's insane." Steve says, "Come on, come on!" Steve shouted out into an empty room. 20,000 a year is less than a minimum wage. Ruben, Marcus. The difference is that the minimum wage employee had to work 40 hours a week to make that 20,000, while this guy just sat at home, went to his regular job or did his business, had fun looking at his piece of artwork, enjoyed it for 3 years, didn't have to work any extra, and then cashed in the 20 G's. Okay? Hello? You know better than that, Marcus. Or you should. So if there is a seller PMM, he got 4%. Well, he got less than that. Let's just say he got much less if he paid a seller fee for sure. You know. James says that he hears that you can flip war art in just a couple of months. I don't know. Could be possible.
Oh, that's some of the most unflippable art around.
Art is a battlefield indeed, CJ. But yeah, so that's a good example. That's good. So again, hey, I don't condone flipping. I listen. That's probably not the proper terminology. I don't tell people not to do it. You know, the people that are in this because they love the action and they love to try to make a profit. I've always said, have at it. Go do it. I'm just saying you'd be better off financially if you at least tried to flip and short-term speculate by finding people on your own to flip and resell to rather than immediately sending it back to an auction house. You're more than likely going to lose. So I'm just trying to help you guys that love to do this kind of thing not lose money 85% of the time. That's all. Okay, so let us move on to the next piece, everybody. What have we got lined up here? It is all I can tell is that it's a panel page. I can't see the panels big enough. The thumbnail's too small. So let's pop it up on screen and see what it is. Check this out. Yes. So the Fantastic Four, number 200, anniversary issue, page 3. A great page. And now my doorbell's ringing. I don't know if you guys heard that. I'm sorry. But just ignore it, honey. Doesn't matter. And so yeah, fantastic page, I think. Really exciting, good action with Dr. Doom, the whole Fantastic Four team, all the members there. So really cool, right? So this example was purchased in 2017 for the very interesting price of $3,333 at Comic Link. Okay, lovely art by Pollard and Sinnott, of course. Now, let's see what happened here on the resell. Check this out. Okay. So check it out, everybody. A really good return. But of course, the timing, in my opinion, the timing on this one had a lot more to do with you know, the great result than anything else. It's usually a confluence of factors, of course, but I think the timing of it was really the main factor. Having bought it in 2017, before a huge new wave of collectors stepped into the hobby, as you know, with 2020. Although, you know, a lot of collectors began in the 2017 year to come into the hobby, but it wasn't really until COVID where it really exploded. And so, yeah, I think buying it for $3,300, it's 2017, and then selling right into the peak of the COVID craziness 4 years, 2 weeks later, in December of 2021, I think that's what really helped because, look, it sold at Comic Link and only a 10% seller fee. And so even after that 10% seller fee, still netted $5,826. So that equates to a 174.81% return in 4 years. So it's nice to see the gentleman held on to it for quite a good portion of time. So that's, again, it always helps you, right? Like I always say, guys, the closer, if you're not going to sell it, if you're not going to hold it for at least 5 years minimum, you know, at least the longer, the closer you can get to those 5 years, the better off you likely will be, right? So very nice profit here. A lot of feedback here. Let me jump in and see what people are saying. Al just came in and said hello to me and you, Peter, and everyone else. Just wanted to say hi before he heads off to the old graveyard shift. Can't wait to see the whole episode later on Rewind. Sending lots of love to everyone. Likewise, Al, thank you very much. Have a great shift, pal. And number one trade for some Stephen Hughes and give them to me. Okay. Not sure why you're saying that. But let's see. Very sweet page, indeed. Very beautiful. I heard a doorbell. Show ruined. It was actually my daughter who, 9:30 p.m., she just got home. She's supposed to be at the cinema finishing up a viewing of Obsession. So I have no idea, and I guess until I finish tonight's episode, I will not find out why she's home. And apparently she did not catch the movie. But she does not look happy, so something bad happened. Okay, all right. I'll get to that later. Who is at the door? What's up, Tiff? Love me some Pollard. Good art. At a good price. Yep. It's issue 200. I did mention that. I don't see good art at auction often. Okay, talking about from what we said before. Indeed. Regards to the family, will do, Al. Likewise. And not bad. Maybe waited a little longer. Hey, listen, if you already made that much after 4 years, imagine if you held on to it for 8 years. Who knows? But you never know, right? 8 years later, it could have still been a 5,000 profit, right? You don't know. But what we do know is that if we think of it in terms of the minimums, try to keep it as the minimum. The longer you hold, the higher your chances go of at least breaking even, if not making money, So let's see. Still looking for a Marvel tissue paper from the 70s. We'll overpay for a box full. Nice. All right. So let me see. So congratulations to the seller who netted this in December of 2021. And listen, December 2021, this coming December, just a few short months away, is already the 5-year anniversary. It's going to be the 5-year anniversary of this person who bought it for $10,000 or whatever the price was. So who knows? Who knows if he holds on and maybe sends it into auction sometime in 2027 and beyond, he may already be ready to get his money back and the profit perhaps on top of it. Who knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, the guy the seller earned a nice profit, but I keep thinking if he'd only waited a couple more years into the past the into the pandemic frenzy, that he would have been higher.
But you see, not necessarily, because people have different opinions as to when was the peak, right? Because there are people that think, I remember it being super strongest in late 2021. Others people say, nah, like in the middle of 22. And other people say 23, first half of 23. And then others are like, no, by 23, it's when it kind of like, okay, the craziness began to cool down. And that's how I remember it too. It's like no more super crazy, every 5-figure piece jumps by another 5-figure profit every time, that was happening to me. I remembered as more like 21 into 22, but I think by 2023, we began to see actually more of a leveling off and occasional large price pieces selling for losses, Yeah. So you never know, Peter. That's the thing, right? Nothing's guaranteed. It's all, no matter what, it's a crapshoot. We can just talk about the odds and how you can improve your odds. Nothing's guaranteed, though, obviously.
Yeah. I'd also seen Tom's comment. It resonated with me. Just hold on a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, again, I am a proponent of, hey, hold on as long as you can, for sure. That's what I say. Is the more you can hold on, the more likely you're going to feel good about it when you finally do sell it, Tip is saying, why did she leave in the middle of the movie? It was supposed to be good. Should we not see it? Please let us know. I'm not going to find out until after tonight's broadcast. Like I said, I'm not going to start screaming out to her and trying to call her here to find out what happened. I'm assuming, like I said, it was a 7 or 7:30 type showing. So I would think it should be ending right about now. So I think she did not see it. It took her probably an hour to get home from downtown. So yeah, there's no way she saw it at all. I don't think it was a question of she wouldn't be so scared that she would go and watch a movie and then, oh my God, I'm too scared. Not only am I leaving the movie, but I'm leaving my friends and going home. Yeah, so something must have gone wrong. I don't know. But you know what? This may end up being a good thing for me, Tiff, because I had asked her a couple of days back, hey, I go, the guys on my show, they were telling me last week that Obsession was really, really good. And, it's making tons of money. I said, hey, you want to go watch Obsession together? And she was like, like a typical teenager. Well, I already have plans to see it with my friend. Okay, no love for daddy anymore,
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe now. Maybe we can catch it this week. If now that she didn't apparently see it, so we'll see.
Is she a horror fan?
Yeah. She likes to get scared and stuff, Yeah. Okay, so let us move on, everybody. But that was a great example again. And Rick says it might have to do with the company she was with. I don't know. They were friends. I don't know how the company could have ruined anything and made it bad. Not your business. Not our business, though. Well, we'll see. I'll let you know next week, I guess. I'll let you know what happens. She tried voicing something as she popped in. She stuck her head in, and she was like, I couldn't make out what she was saying, though. So, but yes, let me cue up the next image, peeps, and see what else we got. Yes. Okay, so this is a page by a wonderful artist. So A+ name value factor, but D or worse, depending on what you're, how you look at it, content quality factor, okay, on the page. So that, considering that, the fact that this one made money, good for the seller. All right, so let's check it out. And that is this one. Fantastic Four 347 by Arthur Adams and Art Thibert. The two arts, art squared, if you will. So it's from the famous, one of those issues of the very well-known 3-issue story arc that Art Adams drew. So content, again, if you see, for those of you, by now I think you know what you should all know what I mean when I say content quality. Just some monsters and a couple of scrolls. There you go. So 2022, March, still in the thick of COVID. Sold for $2,880. And again, listen, your mileage may vary, my opinion, because of the content. To me, spending $3,000 to get a couple of scrolls and a couple of monsters, a waste of my money. But then again, that's why I didn't bid on it. So I don't, it's nice art at least. So if you just want to get a nice, examples of the beautiful detailing, the stylings of Arthur Adams and Art Thibert, I guess it's okay for something that won't cost you $20,000, But let's take a look and see what happened to this one. As the purchaser of $2,880 then resold it. And here we go. So fair credit to the reseller for holding it 3 years, 8 months. So that's still on the longer end of the less than 5-year timeline. And so it sold for $4,000. So remember, it was $2,880, and then almost 4 years later, sold for $4,000. I gotta say, Peter, and everybody else, my opinion is that's quite a jump in terms of the sales comparison, the sales price comparison. Quite a jump when you think like, okay, almost $3,000, right? Again, for 2 scrolls and 2 monsters, or 3 scrolls and 2 monsters. I think it's more than enough. I don't think, not everything has to go up in price, and not everything does go at the same rate as everything else, right? This one went far higher than I believe it should be worth. I mean, $4,000 for 2 monsters and 3 scrolls. I mean, I don't know. Either way, remember everybody close to the beginning of the show when I talked about, we're going to see different reasons why I feel that some of these examples tonight, even though they are wins, they are very rare wins, okay, on the insanity tip. Some of them are here, they're wins as technicalities. This is one of those technicalities where, on all the other shows, you guys have heard me say many times, a $320 profit when you spent $2,880 and it took you 3 years, 8 months to make the $320, it's a negligible profit. To me, that's the same as breaking even. I would say the same thing if it was a $320 loss, So yeah. So again, to me, it's more of a break even, but that's fine. Like I said, that's what the show's about. Technicality or not, it technically, it fits the spirit of this series. Insanity wins. It was resold in less than 5 years, and the person did make the money. But again, on the flip side, one more time, if he did get a 5 to 10% or even more, perhaps, seller fee attached, then you can forget about that $320. Then this is definitely a loss. And this would instead have been in one of the episodes of Stop the Insanity, So yeah, there you go. Let me jump in and see what you all have to say. Okay. I'm just going to stick to the comments related to, what is she? A castle freak? What? I didn't watch that with her, but I hope to. I kind of wanted to, CJ, but then I was like, nah, there's a couple of scenes in there she shouldn't see. I don't think she's ready to see,
Yeah.
It's not, I don't care about the nudity. She's obviously seen nudity in films, but there's violence mixed with the sexuality that shouldn't be seen. It's like pretty graphic, and so I don't want her to see that. Again, with your side convos, okay, I'm back. Okay, I like very much older pieces. I just don't want to pay 5-6 figures. Aru. Plenty of great new artists producing currently. That's true. Stop the Insanity. Cap price is plummeting. Okay, let me see if I can find something decent. Oh, well, here we go. Mark is saying, but Ruben, stop writing my name. I swear to God, he doesn't have to piss me off. Stop misspelling my name.
It's a Reuben sandwich.
That, exactly.
Goes well with root beer float.
Which I, to this day, still have never tried a Reuben sandwich. That's the irony of it all. That's a big win, $320 while he got to enjoy the art for 3 years, 8 months, and he didn't have to work 40 hours a week to earn it. Whatever. Let me see. Yeah, the gore is too much. Indeed. Yeah, I don't think she's seen worse, Marcus, than those scenes I'm talking about from Castle Freak. I don't think she's seen a movie with that kind of stuff. That's the speech to text way of spelling your name. Isn't it? Man, I gotta try it. I've never had to text myself, So we'll see. I assume that most folks don't get to skirt the seller premium and the calculated gains would be less. Exactly, Steve, exactly. Although in fairness, it's hard to say, right? Because we don't know. We don't know what every individual who reached out to Heritage negotiated with them, right? But typically, historically, they have been open if you're sending them, multiple pieces. And if the pieces are each worth like several $1,000s each, and then especially if the artists involved have good name value, depending on, if you get some of, not all maybe, but some of those factors are in there with your consignment, you're more likely to get them to agree to just waive the seller fee. But like a page like these days, okay, I don't know what this guy got because I don't know what else he consigned. But these days, if he had, let's say, consigned this piece and 2 others, let's say, also each worth, I don't know, $3,000 a piece, right? A total of roughly $10,000 a consignment for 3 pieces. If the other pieces, even if they were Arthur Adams as well, let's say 3 Arthur Adams pages, don't be so sure that they would waive the seller fee completely if the content quality was the same as this one. Okay? Because they would just be looking at like, okay, it's Arthur Adams, that's good, but wow, 3 pages of Skrulls and monsters. Yeah. They are much more likely to say, you know what, we can't do no fee, but we'll give you, we'll keep it at 10%. You know what I mean? So that's kind of typically how it works. But if this was one piece out of many, many pieces, and the other ones were, way more valuable, then yeah, it's more likely that he probably did get it waived, So I'm just trying to play the, I'm trying to give the since we don't know, there's no way of knowing for every example the deal that everybody got with Heritage. I'm just trying to be conservative on the side to the benefit of the resellers, and we just accept the fact that yes, it may and could be less profit or an even bigger loss on the Stop the Insanity shows. You know what I mean? Yeah. Peter, did you want to say something? Sorry, man.
Oh, for Alberto, that is a Cap page because that scroll was formerly impersonating Cap.
Oh, was it?
No, I don't know.
Okay, let us check the next example and let's see what we got. Oh, interesting one. Great cover. Love this cover. Check it out. Here we go. So the cover to Ghosts 82. Love this one because it immediately reminded me of the origin of, Robin with his parents, right, at the circus. The fact that they died, on the trapeze, falling off the trapeze, and the fact that, here we see one of the trapeze artists as a skull, as a skeleton. It's just a fantastic sort of visual analogy to the Robin origin, but with a weird, creepy twist to it. So I really, really love it. Beautiful Luis Dominguez art, And so on this one, 2023, December of 2023, it sold at Comic Link for $3,800. Now, let me say, guys, you guys have a better memory usually for remembering the timing of, when was it that these DC mystery covers, when was it that they suddenly had gone from 3 to 4K, and then overnight, one day at auction, the next example was suddenly $12,000. And from that point on, all of them kept selling for between like $8,000 and $12,000. If you guys remember when that happened, then, because I'm thinking it happened soon after this guy bought this. Because I believe if we had already seen even just the first or second example at $12,000, I absolutely believe that they would have bid this up to that same similar level at Comic Link in December of 2023. So that's why I think he probably got this before they suddenly jumped into that $12,000 range, but I'm not sure. But either way, let's see what happens here, guys. So 3,800, December of 2023. And then resells it at Hakes of all places, at Hakes. And of course, because multiple examples at this point, November 25, just under 2 years later, a year and 11 months. By November 25, other examples had already been selling in this $12,000 range. And so he sent it in, got I believe a 10% seller fee. And racked in a beautiful profit of 187%. So even after the 10% seller fee, he gets back his, what was it again? Let's remind ourselves. He gets back his $3,800. And on top of that is given another $7,122 as a bonus. So fantastic return. Congratulations to the seller. That's a really great return for a year and 11 months hold. So yeah, good for you. Very well done. And here we go. Rickster, awesome cover. These are doing very well now, indeed. And so Rick says it reminds him of Dead Man. That's true too. I mean, I guess both. I guess since Robin is a more, famous character, my mind goes to Robin before Dead Man, but you're definitely right. Definitely right as well, Rich. And that's Robin in the skirt and the bow. Let the Skelly man perform. It's his dream, indeed. Walenda. It's Walenda. ENDA. And oh no, what are you saying? Oh no, Tom. 1.5 years ago. Yeah, you think it was that recently? When did Hydra start bidding? I'm not sure, but it was pretty recently. Yeah. Cool cover indeed. Should be buying ghost covers. Well, I don't think you should be buying them at 12,000 anymore if you're looking to make money. But back then, who would have known? Honestly, remember, guys, it's not like they slowly, climbed up from like 3.5 to 4 and then, for a year or two, they were selling at 5, 5.5 and 6, and then one sells for 7 and then 7.5. You know what I'm saying? When it happens like that over time, then you can generally expect that it's much more likely that the higher values will hold over the long run, But when a collectible, it's much like the stock market. When a collectible one day is $3,000 or $4,000, and then out of the blue, literally for no apparent reason whatsoever, the next example sells for $12,000, 4 times as much as the previous example. There's like this backfilling, at least in the stock market, that's how it works. There's this backfilling that needs to happen. And so the price of the stock will correct, right? It'll come down some as people take profits. Okay, obviously, it's not one of a kind. Stocks are not one of a kind, right? Shares are not one of a kind. So that's the big difference. That's why we can't, it looks very similar to the stock market, but it's still very different. But it still concerns me when I see a collectible like art, even though it's one of a kind, going from 3 to 4K to 12 or 8 to 12 overnight, with nobody having ever paid between 4 and 8. That concerns me. That worries me. And if you're a speculator / investor, do what you want. Obviously, you're going to do what you want anyways. You're not going to listen to me for sure. But if you do listen to me, I would strongly suggest not. If you're looking to invest, or speculate, I would not be buying these DC mystery covers for $12,000. And frankly, even at $8,000, the lower end of the range, of the current range, even $8,000 to me seems way, way more value than they need to be priced at. They're fun. They're cool. They're fun. But yeah, if you got them, sell them, baby. Sell them for 12 grand. If you can get 12 grand. Yeah, for sure. And let me see. You should be buying romance covers. It's only a matter of time before that's the next big thing. Well, listen, pretty cool, nice-looking romance covers have sold for good money already, you know? But it's really the comic guys, you know, they're always looking for something to speculate in because that's all they do. It's all speculation. It's not really collecting, right? So they've already gotten into over the last few years, you know, oh, romance is the next genre we got to go after, right? So in comics, that's already happened, you know? And yeah, like Tom's comment here, right? See so many guys that love the romance comics and getting into art now. Yeah. Good night, Corey. And hey, Peter, can we get a better look at the two pieces over your head? And why can't I seem to find them in your calf? They're there.
One is and one isn't. The one, the
Silver Surfer is not.
No, the Silver Surfer is not because it's too large. I can't scan it. It's been in a frame. It's just too large. It's a lithograph.
And trust me, John, you could see it way better in his gallery. the war piece, that beautiful war piece, way better in his gallery than you can just by looking over his head. So he showed it to all of us closer on a previous appearance, but yeah, you got a great scan right there in his gallery. I mean, you're not going to see it better than that, man.
Yeah, it's among the 20 pieces or the 10 pieces that I put in the beginning.
Say again, Peter?
It's one of the pieces that I've put at the front of the gallery.
Oh, in your featured gallery, you mean?
Featured gallery, yes.
Yeah, one of your 12 pieces in your featured. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right there on the homepage of his gallery, John. I can't just buy for investment only. It has to be what I like. Yeah. I mean, most people fall into that category with artwork, certainly. And there you go. Rick's telling you where it is. All right. So let's go to the next one, everybody, and see what this one is. Check this out. So giant size, man thing. What Peter keeps in his pants, apparently. That's so I'm told. And this is from June 2023. And this one. Oh, okay. I'll let you come back to see.
Oh.
I had to let you guys see Peter's face on that one. I mean, come on, you know, it's worth it. Come on, we're just having some fun here, Peter. You know what I mean? Like, just having some fun, man. Just having some fun. But yeah, giant size man thing always goes up. That's what I hear, especially Peter's always goes up. And love this, but gosh, hold it because it's gold. All right, let's get back to it and check it out. So, June of 2023, so just about 3 years ago, $28,800. I mean, that's a lot of money for a duck. I got to tell you, I love Frank Brunner or Brunner. I don't know how he says his name. I still haven't found out after all these decades. But you know what? Until I hear factually correct, I'll keep saying the way I've always said it, which is Brunner. And yeah, $28,800. I'm like, wow, for a duck, man, seriously, beautiful art, right? Brunner's great, but like, I don't know. It's crazy to me that people pay tens of thousands for duck art. Mind you, yes, Marcus, before you start typing that Carl Barks, people pay millions of dollars for his duck art, blah, blah, blah. I'm aware. But this is not that. This is not Disney related, okay? So anyways, $28,800. All right. And Carl is here for the AI art. And giant size man thing is a shower and a grower. Apparently. But yes, let's see what happened. Let's see how long this buyer held on to it for. Check this out. Okay, so exactly 2 years later. And look how much more it sold for. Peter, what do you think about that? What is your opinion? Just based on, you know, what you think about Howard the Duck, the artist, whatever. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't collect Howard the Duck. I don't know what the comparables are. It just that's a big jump, and I don't. I mean, it's a nice page. It's got a lot of space going on, a lot of cosmic.
Yeah.
Good Howard the Duck image title page. Just don't know what the comparables are for that. It does seem a lot, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, obviously, I know it's not something that you would be, knowing offhand what the other duck comps are. I'm just saying more like the way I said it. Like even I don't know what I didn't look at and pay attention to the comps. I'm just saying more in terms of, I never read Howard the Duck. I mean, to me, it just wasn't my thing. And again, when it comes down to it, it's look, we in North America. Okay, our hobby is dominated by superheroes. And so for a hobby dominated by the love for superhero, to me, even $28,000, even though it is beautiful Brunner art, to me, to pay tens of thousands of dollars for a duck art, I don't know, man. To me, that's crazy. Obviously, there are enough fans who remember it from back in the 70s and they love Brunner, whatever. Obviously they're paying it, but I don't know. I don't get why anybody would love the Howard the Duck art so much to drive it to these levels.
It must be nostalgia. I mean, I don't know a lot of Howard the Duck collectors, but I mean, if it was Doctor Strange there,
yeah. MLB is pointing out that apparently this is his first solo story.
Good point.
So, okay, maybe okay. So I'm willing to concede that alone would explain the jump from 28,800 to 42,000, yeah, but, I just, in general, it's still just duck art. Like, I'm like, who cares, but whatever, I guess the fans love it. And that's what it's about. But congratulations to the seller, because even after the seller fee, or I should say losing the buyer's premium, assuming there's no seller's fee, you're still netting $6,200, and only held it for 2 years. So I think that's good. That deserves applause. So good for you, a 21% increase in only 2 years. So yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats to the seller for sure on that one.
But I would have never thought that. That's one that really surprises me.
I mean, it's like I say, Tom, it's a beautiful image. You heard me. I've been a fan of Brunner. I've been a fan even ever since I was a kid. I mean, when I was a 12-year-old and I first got into that first comic shop I discovered, I mean, I immersed myself in everything, and I learned about all the artists immediately. It was like an amazing time. That's why 1982 is my favorite year as a 12-year-old, because that was the year I learned about everything, and I discovered all these artists, and that included Brunner and Howard the Duck. And I thought, I was like, okay, I'm not interested in reading Howard the Duck, but I immediately could recognize how beautiful this guy's art was, But yeah, man, 28,000, 42,000 for a duck. I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm not, this is like this series of shows completely aside for a moment. It's a completely different topic. I'm just saying, like, we could talk about this this is like a comic art hangout episode topic where it's like, what do you guys think about Howard the Duck? Like, I've always felt beautiful art, but I would never pay you're paying even more for that stuff by Brunner than a lot of great superhero art, which is shocking because superheroes dominate, and that should always be a lot more than funny animal comic art. You know what I mean? That's why I always find it so surprising. But yeah, he got it for sure.
Like, CW makes a really good comment about it, that if you compare that page to the Doctor Doom page, this page, in terms of like what's in it, it's more action, it's got space, it's pretty dynamic, whereas the Doctor Doom is a stationary, not much going on kind of page, both
Right.
title pages. But I can certainly see that, someone would, might want to pay more for that Howard the Duck. Just as,
Yeah.
even though it's not, even though it's not a supervillain or a superhero.
Yeah. I mean, James is stating certainly something that makes sense, right? He's saying, I think quality of the image is outpacing other variables, right?
Yes.
And you're right about that. I mean, I'm aware of that. I don't think any of us doubts that, because it is a beautiful looking page, taking into account the fact that it's a duck, it's not a superhero. That aside, it's still, it's obviously a beautiful page with all those beautiful outer space backgrounds, for sure. Absolutely. The other one, this is James speaking, everybody. For everybody who listens on Rewind while they work and doesn't watch, James is also saying that the other things still matter a lot, of course, but the biggest jumps I've seen in price after a flip are for great images. Absolutely, absolutely. Content quality. That's what that's what I say all the time. Content quality. That's what it's all about, right? That's what I said. The Arthur Adams piece, 2 monsters and 3 scrolls. That's like at best D-level quality, content quality. So for sure, yeah.
When it quacks like a duck.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Sonny says, yes, if I was forced to pay that much money, I'd take this over the Doctor Doom page you showed, for example, though I'd never voluntarily pay for this. Listen, but that's the thing, Sonny. That's exactly why, obviously, people have always paid up for the especially the Brunner, Howard the Duck stuff, right? They pay up for it. They always have paid up for it. I know that, right? Because clearly, the Brunner, Howard the Duck stuff has always had its small cadre of fans, a very, very strong, tiny but strong cult following. So I'm aware of that. It's just in generalities, you prefer a duck over a superhero or a supervillain. Usually the answer is no, right? So few people in the hobby prefer a duck over a superhero or supervillain that it is surprising that those prices for the duck would get even remotely to where they've gotten to over the years, So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, more power to them. Good for the seller. Fantastic, actually. Only 2-year hold, so 2 years and make yourself several $1,000. So that's always good. Great page though. If I had that kind of money to spend, I might bid. Killer image too. It is. Rick says, I'm not a Howard the Duck fan at all, but the art speaks for itself. That's what I've been saying. It's when a duck is a falcon, right? Andrew Gorlick, what's happening, Andrew? And what brings you by tonight? Rocket Raccoon is a hit. Yeah, but it wasn't a hit. It wasn't a hit for decades. Nobody cared whatsoever. It was only the movie treatment of the character that made him so entertaining all of a sudden speculators feel, right, because that's how speculation works. Oh, everybody loves that formerly crappy character that we never cared about, but he was so funny in that movie. So now he's important in the comics, right? It's just speculation that drove him to popularity. And then, of course, more comics, with that similar treatment of the character kept him kind of popular, right? So that's it. I thought the movie had some funny moments. It's considered a cult classic. It's not considered a cult classic. It's considered a dog by pretty much everyone.
Yeah, that's my view of it also.
It's a dog. It's always been a dog.
It's a star of a movie.
Yeah. Every movie in existence.
Or like the spirit. It's like the spirit.
Every movie in existence has some fans that are going to, no matter how bad it, oh, I love that. Oh, it was great, whatever. So, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's a cult classic. I don't think that it reaches cult classic status. I think the people who actually believe that it was good and they enjoyed it. Way too small in numbers to say that it's even big enough for a cult status, you know. Brunner Strange would be my jam. You know, that stuff's beautiful too, for sure. Thinking back, he appears small in most panels in the first 2 books, so this is his best page created to this point. Yeah, all these factors probably had something to do with that you know, resale for another 14 grand, I would think, you know. Have zero interest in Howard the Duck, so even if the art was Mona Lisa quality, it wouldn't move me to bid. I mean, that's kind of the point I was getting at. That's all I was saying, Steve, you know. Hey, Robert Berman in the house, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I want a sexy babe or badass superhero in action. That's what I'm saying. Most people do. Most people do. And let me see what else. I prefer Howard the Human. Hashtag collecting down. Howard the Dog. Maybe Spielberg bought it. You never know. George Lucas's worst movie. Didn't THX? Wasn't THX garbage? I never saw it.
It was critically acclaimed.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Griffin Fitzroy says, true story. I brought Howard the Duck to a bad movie night, and it put the other people off bad movies permanently. Okay. Okay. Andrew says THX is okay. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let me see. Where are we at? Okay. All right, everybody. So, at this point in the show, I'm going to do something a little different that I haven't done before. Okay. I'm introducing a new segment to my channel. I say channel because you will see this segment in various shows, whether it's a hangout or an episode like tonight of Insanity Wins, whatever the case may be. Okay, it's determined by art. So this is the segment, this is the part of the show where we're going to do something called Taking It to the HNL. For those of you not familiar, that means taking it to the whole nubber level. Okay, I know some of you know what I'm talking about because we've done this before. I haven't shown you anything, but I did the imitation. All right? So, for those of you who don't know, let me just put it back up. The actor Keegan-Michael Key on Mad TV, of course, on this channel, it's Art TV. He played a character named Eugene. All right, and he was a delivery man, right? And he would deliver in Hollywood, right? So he'd go to places where there were like celebrities in buildings, and suddenly he'd be walking down the hallway. He'd look inside some room looking to deliver his package, and suddenly he'd see some celebrity, and he'd get all excited like a fanboy and like, you know, start talking to them. He'd pull up a seat with them as they're ready to be interviewed by somebody, you know, and he'd sit and start telling them how great they were and how their appearance and their role in this movie or that show or other was amazing. Oh, and then they did this. And his whole catchphrase was, oh, but then you did this. And that's when you took it to the HNL. You took it to the whole nubber level. Anyway, so if you watch it, go back and you can catch it here on YouTube. It was pretty funny stuff at the time. So what I'm going to be doing is it's not going to be a weekly. It's not going to be a weekly thing. So don't expect to see this every Sunday. I'm going to show a piece of art. All right. I'm going to show. Listen, if there's two, it might be two. Whatever. So it's going to be dictated basically by when I happen to see a piece of art that moves me, and I'm feeling like to the point where I feel like, oh wow, holy shit, wow, where I feel like, wow, that's, you know, that's over and above what I've seen lately. In recent times that I've been noticing from all the posting and whatnot. So whenever that happens, I figure, you know what? It's not going to happen every week anyways. when it does happen, I just feel like I want to give it some more exposure because it's just something, again, like I said, art should move you. The greater it is, the more likely it is that it's going to move you. And so when something does move me on that occasion, that week, Sunday's episode, I will do the segment of Taking It to the HNL. All right? I'm going to be Eugene. All right? And I'm going to show you some art that I really enjoyed. Okay? So with that being said, let me share the screen here and show you what piece I felt took it to the whole nother level. All right. And here we go. All right. And let me bring it in here. Well, let me do this first. I'll change the view. Oops, sorry. Change the view. There we go. And here we go, everyone. Look at that. Look at that. And look at the timing. Look at the timing. What coincidence that Peter, of all people, who happens to be my friend in the studio with me tonight, is the subject of tonight's Taking It to the HNL. I saw this piece, and the second I saw this piece, Peter, man, it just spoke to me. I was so blown away, you know, and especially because I never heard of the artist before. You know, Ken Burns is the artist, everyone, British artist. Let's take a look. And actually, let me blow it up here. I mean, just a great war scene. Absolutely phenomenal. Take it in all as one whole scene. I just felt like I could hear the planes strafing, you know, the ships. I could hear and feel the bombs dropping onto the ships, into the water. Gosh, look at the missiles, you know, being fired off from the under the wings. The technique I thought was absolutely stunning. The not dry brush. It looks like it's like some kind of a dry sponge or marker. I can tell it's not a brush. Probably some kind of a marker, because at the end of the brush strokes around here, you can see it ends. You can see it ends like a very square-tipped marker. But yeah, just beautiful, beautiful details in this. I really just felt like I was immersed into the image. I felt like, look at that ship, utterly destroyed, sinking into the ocean on fire. I mean, like, it's just such a beautiful image of wanton destruction on the open seas during the war, you know? And don't know if anybody noticed, but here, down here, my gosh, you see people in the water. You know, look, person holding on here to the rowboat capsizing. People here. There's a guy balancing on the metal, or I guess maybe wooden, not sure what it would be made of, railing of the ship here, deciding, should I just jump into the water or should I just try to keep balancing and just stay here? This other guy here holding on for dear life, you know, to keep from falling into the water. Another guy here, I mean, like, just phenomenal. And again, all these vertical and diagonal dry lines here, just spectacular, so organic looking. The inks are so rich. The detail on all the ship, so beautiful. The background, the other ship on fire, the smoke trailing away into the sky that builds up into the top right corner up here. I mean, the whole thing, just to me, absolutely spectacular scene, beautifully composed, and technique up the wazoo. Yeah, man. For me, that was, like I said, guys, easily the best piece I've seen, certainly this past week, and perhaps it's one of the best of 2026 so far for me. So your mileage may vary, and that's okay, but it's my show. So what I say goes, and I'm going to put, for anybody who may not have seen it and seeing here tonight for the first time, I'm putting the link to that. And by all means, if you love it and you love Peter, and I don't know how you can't, please give your thoughts by leaving him a comment on the piece, because I think it's spectacular. So before I move on, I just want to give you, Peter, an opportunity, and I don't want to put you on the spot. You don't got to say anything, but is there anything that you might want to sort of say about the piece yourself?
Thanks for, I had no idea you're going to do this. You kind of, anyway.
You're flummoxed. Are you flummoxed?
Yeah.
It was a surprise, everybody. It's true. I didn't tell him in advance that I would do it. Well, let me just say, Peter and everybody else, just so you all know, it is coincidence in the sense that I had planned earlier in the week to do the idea of taking it to the HNL as a new segment that I'll do from time to time. So I had already planned this. That was the first thing. It was the only thing earlier in the week that I knew I was going to do, that I wanted to do for this week. And then it was only earlier today, a few hours before we went live tonight, that I decided, you know what? I don't want to do this alone. Let me reach out to Peter and see if he wants to hang out with me. So, and he said yes. So had he not done that, I would have still shown Peter's war piece, taking it to the HNL, and he just wouldn't have been here in the studio with me. So it was coincidence, but a happy coincidence nonetheless. So sorry, Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was really well composed. The way that he's placed all the elements of the splash. I didn't notice the guys in the water until after I got it. And you
didn't know that the guys were in the water until after you bought it?
No.
You didn't look at it closely enough. Wow.
I didn't look at it closely enough.
Wow.
And I'd read the book.
Yeah, wow.
And, but one thing that I know, this is going to be an odd thing that I kind of like about it, is there was some other piece of art that was shown on a show, and the bullet casings were huge.
Oh yeah.
And I go, that's crazy. And I like that, actually this plane, they're showing the casings coming out of the airplane, the bullet casings.
Okay.
And then I love that little the shading or nuance on the left side, the gray.
Yeah.
I love how he did that to really kind of make it stand out, the piece, to balance the other side.
James wants you to flip it for the insanity, Peter. Just for the insanity. Flip it. Sorry to interrupt. But I agree with you.
Anyway, the book is Out of the Blue, Garth Ennis, World War II story. It's a 2-part graphic novel. These mosquito planes that British flew that were made out of wood. That's what made them so fast and so nimble. And they had a credible range of roles. They were actually the pathfinders for bombers, for the British bombers. So they would mark the target for them at night. And perhaps, I'll say in the description, I talk about how it's perhaps the most famous missions were their bombing of various Gestapo headquarters, often at the request of the resistance. So, it's a crazy plane. And the character, actually, that the main character is someone that he had previously visited in another book, another comic. I don't like the art that much in that comic, unfortunately, but Ken Burns really knows how to illustrate the hell out of planes and war.
Yeah, with my friend Mike Perkins being British himself, I almost immediately after I saw it and I left you the comment, not almost immediately, I immediately reached out to him. I was like, hey, are you familiar with an illustrator named Ken Burns? He's like, look at this. And I gave him the link to your gallery, And he's like, yeah. He's a fantastic illustrator, a great guy too. Apparently he knows him. He's met him before. Great guy, whatever. Great illustrator. And yeah, really, really amazing stuff. So like, okay, good. So he already knew him. So I was like, okay, I gotta maybe look at that. He said, he said he has done a lot of books with Garth Ennis. Yeah.
Yes. And he did this book that came out as a history. It's an illustrated history of World War II. He did 288 paintings, illustrations for this book over 5 years. I mean, I can't imagine,
How many?
288.
Wow.
Paintings, painted illustration.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild.
So now after we've talked about this, I won't be able to get any more Ken Burns art.
Wow, nobody watches my show. You don't have to worry about that. Word's not going to get out, Peter. Don't worry. It's only us guys here, really. So, yeah, don't worry. Did I drop the HNL on Perkins? I did. That's what I'm saying. I gave him the link. It was straight to it because I was like, I know if he doesn't know who this is, he's going to really appreciate this. Also reminds me a lot of the late lamented Butch Geist, actually. The illustrative quality and realism, how he did the inks. The piece reminds me a lot of Butch's work too. So that was a nice little reminder as well. Ken Burns lives in upstate New York, Ruben. Go visit. Are you talking about the documentarian or the artist? Because he's British, so I doubt the British artist lives in upstate New York.
I have to add something that I bought this piece last year, about 6-7 months ago.
Oh, really? Ooh, you held back on us, man.
Yeah, no, I didn't have it until recently.
Oh, nice.
Thanks to Caitlin and Mickey for helping me get it across the Atlantic.
Oh, thank you, Caitlin and Mickey. There you go. Yeah, fantastic. Hey, collectors helping collectors. That's great, I don't do voice as well, Marcus. I just love it, so I don't mind doing it, even though I suck at it. But because I suck at it, I won't do it too often. So you may see me do it once or twice every time I do the segment in the future. Otherwise, I won't do the voice. All right. CJ's asking, near Yasgur's farm? No idea. But okay. So also, I do actually, here, give me a second. Okay. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so that's what I thought he was saying. I think in my head I was like, is he talking about the farm for Woodstock around that area? Yeah. So thank you, Robert. I was like, it very vaguely sounded kind of familiar, and I was like, is that the Woodstock place? I was like, but why would it be mentioning it? Leslie West approved. There you go, upstate New York. Okay. So let me move on real quick, and before we get back to the rest of the Insanity Wins episode, everybody, please also take a look at this. Check this out. So because this piece, keeping with the war theme, I believe this one was posted before yours, Peter. Kavi posted this, and I'm not posting this because he's my friend. Because if I did that, every episode would be I would have to rename the series to Taking It to the HNL, and all we would do is post all my friends' artwork, right? No, I was just really taken aback at how good a sketch card could be. And I love George Pratt's work anyways, right?
Yeah.
Such a beautiful, fine illustrator. And just, it's like that he's got this almost sad, dead look in his eyes, the way he's looking back at us.
Yes.
You know, asking questions like, why did this have to happen? You know, why'd you leave us behind? Like, I don't know, like
resignation, perplexity.
It's haunting.
Yes.
You know,
it's I mean, there's so much mix of emotion in that face.
The way it just stares back at you, you know, I was just like, yeah, I love it. I love
this
it
on a sketch card.
And it's so beautiful on a sketch card. I love all the curly Q, just quickly dashed off lines. It's like what you call gesture drawing. I used to have to draw. They taught us in art school to draw like this, where you just keep you never lift the pencil off of the paper. You just keep drawing and you keep moving the pencil, keep it moving, and that's what it reminds me of. And it's like, wow.
And he did that on the free sketch hour at OAX.
Right. That's what I'm saying. On top of it, everything. Yeah, I was just like,
top of his head.
Yeah, I just wow, to capture, because it is very sketchy, clearly, right? It's not by any means a finished product.
No,
but that's what's shocking is that in something that's this loose and sketchy, that it's also feeling like it's finished. That you could capture, right? That Pratt could capture the look. The look kills me every time I look at it. That look, that dead-eyed look, right in your face, right? That he could capture that stare, you know, on a sketch card in what probably did not take all that many minutes.
Yeah,
that's what it just fascinated me. I just thought, wow, like this is amazing. This is really fantastic and
crazy. I was kicking myself to go, I should have done the same thing, because George Pratt is one of those guys that has his feet in both what you would call comic art, commercial art, and what you would call traditionally fine art, you know. And and he's a teacher, and he teaches, you know, anatomy, drawing, sketching, etc. at the college. Was it Ringling Brothers College of Art and Design or something like that? And I mean, every piece that he does, I mean, you never know what he's going to do. You know, you'll see some familiarities between pieces, but when he approaches something, I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah. Marcus says, that was me after the 9-hour show. A couple of weeks ago, everybody. 9 hours, 9 minutes, 30 seconds to be precise. A lot of us were feeling like that, Marcus. It wasn't just you. But yeah, listen, he is a fine artist. I mean, I don't see George Pratt. I never saw George Pratt as a comic book artist, okay? Even though that's how I discovered him. As soon as I saw his first work, I was like, wow, look at that. This guy is a fine artist, but he happens to have a love for comics, so he's coming in to do illustration as well, you know? But he's definitely a fine artist. Yeah, so phenomenal. Anyways, I love it, and I wanted to show both of them. Also, Sorry, Peter, what'd you say?
Thank you for showing that sketch card.
My pleasure, for sure. Yeah, I thought it would be fun too. You know, I mean, a lot of you guys were kind of practically begging me a few weeks ago, like, do your own top 10 and whatever. I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. But I thought if I could do something different, a different idea from time to time, I was like, okay, that fits. And this way, I don't have to feel the pressure to do it, because it'll only happen when I feel that, right? Where the art really touches me more than the average piece that I look at, you know? So sorry to say, folks, but this means that there's a very good chance that I will probably rarely show like super heroic type stuff, like traditional, just regular standard superhero fare. I mean, I'm not saying I won't, but I usually the pieces that blow my mind a lot more than the average when I'm looking at Kath, they tend to be stuff that is out of the ordinary, stuff that's not mainstream superhero art, you know. So for that reason only, you know, who knows what I don't know that, you know. But that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing, because this way nobody will be accusing me of only picking my friends' work or whatever. And since you guys know, here's the other thing. Since you guys know, because I've said it, I'll say it again in case you guys didn't hear me last time I said it. Since I no longer take the time to look at everything that's been posted on CAF. I only look at the art posted from people I follow. Okay, I follow, I don't know, 100 and whatever people. And I would say like 30 of those are regularly, constantly posting stuff. So because of that, it is going to end up probably looking, you know, and it's probably going to end up looking like when I do from time to time, you know, do the segment, taking it to the HNL, it'll probably look like, he's just picking his friend stuff all the time. Well, yeah, because it's only basically you guys who I follow, whose galleries I follow, who I'll be picking from, because I don't look at the rest of the stuff, you know? So anyways, so that's that. I don't know what you mean by close the segment properly. Don't forget the Heritage Auction preview. Yeah, probably won't. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe next week. I don't know. It's kind of now, you know, it's long in the tooth now, right? It's kind of like statute of limitations, man. Like it's already a month. By now it's a month, I think. Better see my butt root on the show than Bud and his two big friends. They make a good team. I like to see good art. Don't care about genre. Superhero is good. Show it off. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I'm not saying no. It could absolutely be something like, but again, what it's going to be is it's going to be something that makes me like, wow, man. Oh yeah. Like, you know, it gives me that feeling, you know, more over and above, you know, most of the pieces, you know, so that's it. Meaty, big and bouncy. Whatever the fuck you want. Yes, sir. Gee, you picked Peter and Kavi's art. No one will accuse you of picking friends' art. That's why I said what I just said. It's practically guaranteed to be a friend. Practically guaranteed. And if it isn't, because, of course, again, the 30 some odd that I follow, you know, who update regularly, that's one thing. But then there's another 100 or more who don't update regularly. Some of those people are my friends, but some of them I've never even spoken to. So you never know. If they ever update with something outstanding, it might be a stranger, you know. Oh, Mohammed, Cat Dancer is a shoo-in. We'll see. Remember, no one watches this show according to you. That's true, CJ. That's right. So it ain't mattered. Anyways, but thank you, everybody, for letting us do that. I know it took some time. But I think it's fun. And again, for those of you who still don't know, who never saw Mad TV back in the 90s, right here on YouTube, do a search for like HNL, Mad TV HNL. Okay? That'll bring up a whole bunch of the skits that Michael Keegan Key did. And for those of you who don't know, once again, in case you're tuning in late, that's this guy right here, and he's doing that he's doing that motion where he's like, you took it to the whole another level. So that's it. But I recommend you catching those skits. They were so funny. I used to love them so much. Okay, so thank you very much. Let's get right back into this. Because obviously I don't know how long that segment was going to take, and I did two instead of just one piece. I originally was going to do one, but I was like, then I remembered Kavi's, and I was like, oh yeah, from the week before. Yeah, I really liked it. Anyway, so let's get back into this. Yes. So the next piece in Insanity Whims is this one. Let's check this out. So, Adeo Keown, Bob McLeod from the fantastic Peter David run. Incredible Hulk cover, number 374. Purchased a few months into COVID, 4 months into the COVID boom beginning at Heritage. Heritage for $22,800. And then this gentleman took it and resold it at Heritage again. But check it out. Look very carefully, everybody, under the date. Look how long he held on to it. He sold it in June of 2025, literally 4 years, 353 days after buying it, winning it. So literally only 12 days short of exactly 5 years. So once again, as we were talking about earlier in this episode, this is an example where this actually, like, once again, just goes to show that, yes, while it qualifies as an exception to the rule of something that was sold lower than, less than 5 years, I mean, come on. I don't think anybody would argue that 12 days short of 5 years is really less than 5 years. So all that to say that I could have easily taken this and just used it as an example for my Hold for the Gold series. Because frankly, 4 years, 353 days is still 5 years. And so that's it. So it's here again, it's kind of on a technicality because it did get held on essentially for 5 years. But yeah, power to this guy because he did the right thing. He did hold on for practically 5 years. So that's the right way to go about it. And it turned out really amazingly well. Check out, again, to remind you, he paid $22,800. It sold for $52,800. And so even after the hefty fees, he still got his $22,800 back plus $21,200 net profit on top of it as a bonus. Well done, man. Well done, whoever you are. I think, you deserve.
Yeah, that's a crazy one.
Yeah, you deserve the applause on that one for sure.
Wow.
So, that's a legit one for, holding as long as he did. I think that's very, 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 very fair,
It's a great cover.
Sorry, Peter, what did you say?
It's a great cover.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Yeah. And Lee said earlier, before I went into that piece, we appreciate you and your comments, Ruben. Thank you. I appreciate you, Lee. Thank you. You need to do the voice again to close the segment. And I did it. There you go. This show will get 600 views in a week. Well, you're probably right, although I don't want to jinx it. You're probably right. I say that only because, the Stop the Insanity and Stop the Insanity adjacent shows all tend to get, higher than that. I think the lowest is in like the high 500 range. Yeah. 2.5 hours in, we just finished the first quarter of today's show. Ruben doesn't follow me. Didn't I follow you? It's funny because you know what, Robert? I thought I was following you. And what happened, because what I do is I mentioned this in the past, I follow after you do a show and tell with me. That's when I start following. So you did the show and tell. Normally what I would have done is after the show or, sometime later that week, I would have followed. So if I followed, is it possible? Is there any way? Has anybody ever followed and somehow you went and found that you were not following? Because I got to say, and I'll get right back to you in a second, Robert. Not that I didn't want to segue, but this is a perfect time for it. There are some people who I followed. Forget his name now, but there's a guy I followed, and then I would post on his stuff, and then I didn't see him for a while posting. And then one day I go to CAF and I see in the top corner, the right corner, where you see the most recent 5 people who updated their galleries. And I don't mean the followed galleries. just the 5 most recent out of anybody, whether you follow them or not. And I saw that guy in there. And then I looked over at my followed galleries, the top 5, and he wasn't showing. I was like, what the hell's going on? I follow that guy. Why is he showing? He just updated, but he's not showing in my follow galleries. And it turns out somehow it unfollowed. So I clicked it again, right? So suddenly I was following that guy again. A few weeks go by again, and I see his name show up again in the top corner of the 5 most recent posts. And again, he's not showing in my 5 followed gallery, top, most recent. I'm like, so then I clicked obviously the button of my followed list to see them all. He wasn't anywhere in there. So I have to follow him again, but probably he's unfollowed. It's weird. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if any of you have experienced this at all. But it has happened. So I wonder, because I would have followed you, Robert. I wonder if I followed you and then somehow whatever that glitchy weird thing that happens to that guy, I wonder if that unfollows you or unfollowed me from you. I don't know. So I don't know. But let me see what other people are saying. Will we get a year-end best of HNL? Don't give me new ideas. Keown Hulk cover. This will be way more. That's insanity. Super Scroll art is hot. Just think what the Hulk 272 cover would sell for. Hundreds of thousands. Ruben is scared of Dampier. Beautiful art. I gotta say, though, I will say this, Robert. Because you buy so many pages, you buy complete books, you buy so many pages of the same thing, I don't think I would. I'll go back later and I'll make sure I'm refollowing you. But I still would not leave you more than occasional comments, because when you're buying and posting the same kind of art all the time, it's like, I don't know what else to say. I can't say the same thing over and over about the same kind of art. You know what I mean? But I will go back and check out and see. I'll try to figure out and see why certain people I follow and then they get unfollowed. I will follow you wherever you may go. It's okay, Robert. Only 50 follow me, says Tom. Really? Ruben only followed night mode version. Sure, Ruben. Ruben followed Sister Act. I never saw that actually. Just clock on it and follow Robert now. Oh, click on it. Well, I can because I'm not on caps right now. But I'll do it after. So yeah, let me get back to this, everybody, and let's check out the next piece. And once again, congrats to you who sold the Keown Hulk cover for a tremendous profit. But more than anything, congrats for doing the right thing and doing what was best for you and holding it for about 5 years. So that certainly helped you. And all right, next piece, here it is. Check this out. So this is a Machine Man page from the first issue by Herb Trimpe, but really it's all Barry Windsor-Smith. And what I mean by all, obviously, all of the art was not done by Barry Windsor-Smith, but it might as well have been because it, stylistically looks like it's all Barry Windsor-Smith. Beautiful work. So July 2020, again, about 4 months into COVID, $4,800 at Heritage, and then it gets resold 9 months later. Holy smokes. I mean, wow. And at Heritage, imagine the balls, Peter. Imagine the balls. You pay $4,800. You buy it at Heritage, where everybody feels like, yeah, everything goes high at Heritage, right? So you couldn't have been thinking, oh, I got a super bargain. And then a few months later, you decide, hey, I'm going to flip this. I'm going to send it back to Heritage, or tell them to just hold on to it and put into one of the next couple of auctions upcoming. And damn, for it to go from $4,800 to $8,400, wow. Like in only like sales price to sales price, that's pretty mind-boggling to me, I got to tell you. Of course, with the buyer fees worked in and all that, and seller fees potentially, who knows? But a $2,200 profit, still very, very sweet for 9 months. You tie up a little over $4,000. 9 months later, you get your $4,000 back plus 2,200 profit for a 45% gain in only a few months. That's pretty awesome, man. Yeah. So again, let me. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Peter.
Fast flip.
Applause. Because that's a flip.
That's a fast flip. Well, I mean, not immediate flip, but I don't know if he ever even got it from Heritage, whether he left it there. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, look, listen, it doesn't happen often, but listen, when you do, that's why I say I take off my hats. I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with making a quick $2,200 after just a few months. Like, especially taking the risk of sending to auction and the same auction that you got it from, and the fact that that auction happens to be the one with the most onerous fees involved as the middleman. So usually flipping, buying at Heritage, flipping it back on Heritage in months, that's usually resulting in a massive loss, okay? A massive pocket loss, bank account loss, however you want to call it, Yeah, so that's, wow. Luck was definitely with him.
Either someone is really addicted to flipping or he knew the actual value of what that page should have gone for.
Yeah, who knows? You never know, right? That's the thing. We never really know what's happening, what's the thinking behind it, what really is going on in the minds of the resellers.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, credit where it's due. Good for you. Usually these guys lose. So yeah, that's a great one. So well done. All right, let's take a look at the next one. And let's see this. It is a wraparound cover. Check this out. It's a classic for me anyways. And for a lot of people, I think. So, Ohatmu, Deluxe Edition. For those of you not knowing, who are listening but not watching, wondering what I'm saying by Ohatmu. I mean, it's the acronym for Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe. The Deluxe Edition, it's the 1985 series. It's the first issue cover with Abomination. John Byrne did the wraparound covers for the entire series. So June 2021. And this was purchased at Comic Link for $12,000. And I will say this, everybody. Don't know what you all think, but at the time that this sold, I will say I remember thinking, ooh, that's cheap. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. I don't know if you remember this, selling at the time and what you thought about it. But I do remember thinking, wow, that seems like a really good deal, So I don't know. And Steve says, great one. Beautiful cover, says Tom. I know who owns this one. Rich Cirillo's in. Hey, guys, just popping in for a minute before bed. What's up, Rich?
Hey, Rich.
And it's issue 1. It is. Well, doesn't that make it seem even cheaper? Because it was the first. I mean, yeah, the character content quality is not great. To be honest, Abomination and Angel are really the two big ones. Nothing else really. Yeah, nothing really has value. I mean, not that Abomination and Angel by themselves really carry value, since, there aren't really page collectors who chase after Abomination appearances or Angel appearances per se, right? So, yeah, it's a weak content quality cover, but it is the #1 issue. But still, I thought it was cheap. MLB says cheap. Rick says also seems way cheap. The first step in completing the whole series. A lot of characters per dollar. Well, that's true, but Marvel Universe covers always are. It's me, Giorgio. Aurora is front and center. Yeah. And listen, I'm Canadian, Robert, and you see, I didn't even mention that Batroc, yeah, exactly. Batroc, the Leaper. And it's scratching all the nostalgia itches, for sure, for sure. So let's take a look and see what happens. So, okay, once again, June 2021, $12,000 purchased at Comic Link. And then resold 3 years and 7 months later. So he did the right thing by at least holding and not flipping. To me, that's more of a, you know, kind of like a, for these short-term guys, right? These less than 5 years resellers, three and a half or more years. I mean, that's considered long. That's a long time for them. So let me get a little sip here. Sorry, folks. Had a little bit of dry throat. But yeah, so it sold for $21,600. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what I would have thought, like 20 grand when it sold at Comic Link. So to me, when it resold, you know, it sold around where I thought it should have sold the first time, except it took, you know, 3.5 years to finally get to that point. So, hey, what do I know? All I know is that even after the fees, the buyer fees, the top 20% at the time, removed, the seller here got their $12,000 back plus a $6,000 profit on top of it to enjoy. So that's for them, that's a 50% gain. So, you know, it's solid, given that it's not a great content quality. The character selection for the first issue of these editions they're never great. Yeah. So given that, I think that's pretty good. Make yourself get your money back and make $6 grand on top of it. Yeah, I don't think that's anything to sneeze at. And especially given that it was resold at auction, at Heritage, with higher fees, less than 5 years later. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Let me see. Alex says, owned the whole series when it came out. I'm looking for the number 12 cover. Good luck. No, I think he's talking about the number 12 original art cover, Tom. Ah, yes, that's exactly what he says. There you go. 21 is fair. 80s Marvel big name artist cover, probably still a bargain. I don't know if it's a bargain. I think somewhere around there is fine, you know. Yeah, the Wolvie cover, the Hulk or Iron Man cover, that's usually issue 5. That'll go. And then the Spidey cover. So those are the 3 kind of, you know, top covers usually. Burn Angel is X-Men and Champions adjacent. Yeah, I know. We know that, but as you know, Marcus, it's the one with the black Spidey. Oh, that one. Yeah, that's there you go. And Alberto has the number 2 on the wall. The number 2 original art cover. Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And Carlos coming in 3 hours late, asking what today's topic is. Ah, well, I guess you'll have to figure it out on your own. But, all right. Let's go straight into the next one. Only a few more to go, everybody. And it looks like it would have been a perfect 3 hour length show had I not had to do the new segment, Taking It to the H&M. But hopefully we're done in the next. Should be done in the next 30 minutes or less. All right. Oops. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, everybody in the chat congratulating each other. Yeah, champion. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Insanity wins, Carlos. Matt Kennedy looks different today. He finally showered. That's what happened. He finally showered. Mark Fong, what's happening? And yes, okay. So go to the next one. Let's see what do we have for the next one. Ah, yes. Okay, this one. So you guys know I always speak my mind. I'll tell the truth, even if it sounds something that verges on the negative more than the positive. That's fine. I mean, critiquing art especially is something that I think it's being honest is the only way to do it, as long as you do it responsibly and not just doing it to try to be mean to someone, So all that to say, this next artist has a following for his 70s work. This one, to me, I always disliked it. But you guys let me know what you think. Check it out. So it's a Power Man and Iron Fist cover, number 111, and by Billy Graham. Purchased for $6,600 in November 2021. Given how ugly I personally, I'm speaking for myself, everybody, how ugly I personally think the art is here. I thought at the time, wow, $6,600 for that. Yeah, I would never pay anything remotely close to that. Not even maybe half, maybe at most half. I mean, I still wouldn't want to buy it even for half, but whatever. Yeah, so $6,600, November 2021. Let me see what some of you guys might think before I show you what happened here on the resale. Let me see. Of course, Tom, is there a piece of Marvel art that you don't think is awesome, Tom? That's the real question. Is there any piece of art in existence from Marvel or DC that you don't think is awesome? Boy, the HOA man. What's that? What does that mean? I like Iron Fist's foot. Okay. And I like Graham's early Hero for Hire inks also. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what people like is, the Black Panther and Hero for Hire stuff, Don't tell me to shut up, Tom. That's the reality of the situation. You know as well as I do. I don't think I've ever seen you say an honest opinion on something that you didn't think was nice looking. Everything that I show, that I say, oh boy, this one's really not the greatest art. You love it. $5,000 per foot. Should we all be quiet in the chat? No. Always talk. Don't feel one way or the other on this one. Hey, John C. in the house. You must be happy. Congratulations. The Habs lost. And exactly, CJ. Calm down, Tom. Yeah, calm down and shut up, Tom. This is the first one I said awesome tonight. I know, but it's on one that I just finished saying was like really bad. So yeah. All right, so let's see what happened, everybody. Let's see what happened. All right, let me go and see what happened. So, okay, November 2021, 6,600, and then resold 4 years later. Again, listen, if we look at the fact that he made a profit at only $400, so once again, a negligible profit, to me, that's like break even, Yeah, but listen, he did the right thing. Imagine what, 4 years, right, Peter? 4 years. So he's like 80% of the way towards the minimum 5-year hold period that usually gets you your money back, right? And it was only for a 400 profit, and that's only if there was no seller fee involved. So imagine this had sold, in the first 2 years, he would have lost money for sure, So yeah, it's kind of miraculous, to be honest, because I'm frankly shocked that this was only 6 months ago. I'm shocked that somebody would want to pay almost $9,000, which is basically almost $10,000 for this ugly Power Man and Iron Fist cover. Yeah, so I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Peter?
In terms of
comp-wise, I don't mean comp-wise, obviously, but just like, what do you think of the cover at all? Do you like it? Does it look good to you? I don't know.
I think the things that we've seen before are a lot nicer. Like I keep thinking of that Howard the Duck title page And I think just, even comparing, even though that's a title page and this is a cover, and this has superheroes, and I'm not a collector of Howard the Duck, I would prefer to have the Howard the Duck page.
Oh my God, me too. Me too, because even though it's just a Duck, and I do love Iron Fist, I don't really care about Luke Cage, but I love Iron Fist, always have. I would still rather have the Duck, because at that point we're talking about here. Let me come back to you, because at that point with Howard the Duck splash compared to this Billy Graham Power Man Iron Fist cover, that Brunner Duck art is taking it to the hole. Level. All right, that's what I got to say about that. So yeah, that's how I feel, everybody. That's how I feel. Your mileage may vary, but I just wanted to post this from Mark Fong because that's fun. That's hilarious. Like, he didn't make power money over Iron Fist. I love that. Very clever. It doesn't roll off the tongue easily, but I saw immediately what you were doing, and it's very clever. Iron Fist with left limp wrist. 4 years passed. He sold to buy something else. He did good. Yeah, listen. He barely got out alive on that one. So yeah. I would have expected a big loss. So the fact that he got his money back and made a tiny little, bonus for his pocket, okay, fine. It's nothing to crow about, obviously, as a profit, but
yeah,
you didn't lose money, and that's what usually happens in these cases. He didn't lose, so great, good. Worked out for him. Good for you. Congrats.
He did better than 90%.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. Tom, yeah, I agree with you. I always love those covers with the logos breaking, very fun. Steve says, and trying to be dynamic, the legs on this cover look like D&D action figures were used as reference. I didn't want to start getting into the details of why I think it's an awful cover or whatever, again, but whatever. Yes. He did well. Exactly, CJ. There you go. So Tiff says, why assume that the original auction winner is the person who then resells on auction? Well, we don't necessarily, because we don't know, okay? In all the previous episodes, which you never saw, Tiff, I already explained that many times. We don't know, but, you can assume, given that I keep an eye on the market very closely, it's much more likely to assume that it's the same person than you could believe. The likelihood is that the first guy bought it, and then there's a second guy 4 years later, but that somehow somebody did a private deal. The first guy did a private deal with somebody, in between those 4 years, and then that guy ended up being the seller. Yes, of course, we're aware it could happen. But do you really, this is a show with an audience, right? You really think that the audience would want to hear me have to repeat after every example? Keep in mind, again, as I said the last time, 12 times, everybody, that we don't really know if it's the same person. The point is, it doesn't matter, right? We're just trying to do these shows to show you what happens, right? We're just showing the data. That's what matters, because we don't even know who the people are. So what matters is the data. And even if it's not the same person, it doesn't matter. What we're showing, you can still see that if you were to take it at that price at that time, and we have actual factual data that it sold again 4 years later for that price, well, that's what we have to work with, right? We have that data, and that's what we can work with. Sure, anything could have happened privately in between those two sales, but we don't know that it did, let alone much less have factual data about that supposed hypothetical you're putting out. You know what I mean? So that's why. So, yes, yeah. So there you go. Took profit and bought cover to 114. It's cover old Marvel known characters is what Mark it is. 3 large characters on a cover, I guess. Hello, Conson, here for some insanity. Well, the insanity won out tonight. Insanity is all examples of insanity. The insane actions actually turning out positively for people. So, okay. So, oh my God, he's still on the case. Maybe the original auction holder sold it privately for 38 and then got it listed on Heritage for a big gain. Again, we don't know. Listen, Tiff, you're welcome to start your own YouTube channel with a show called Hypotheticals that don't mean anything and will not teach you anything, since I'm just making all of the information up. Right? I mean, you could do your own show like that. I don't think anybody would want to see that, So why aren't these buyers, sellers in YouTube chat? Who are these people buying, selling, aren't, but not here with us? Most of the hobby is not usually here with us, so that should be a pretty understandable thing. The pieces that flew over the cuckoo's nest. Happens once MLB where the owner of a piece was in the chat. I mean, Rick one time admitted on Stop the Insanity. He took a loss on a piece. He admitted that it was him. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare that people come here and admit it. So, okay. Let us go to the next one. Let me see what we got lined up. Okay. So this is an interesting one. Okay, so check it out. So this is the cover to Power Company Manhunter #1. It's a one-shot in a series of, I think, 8 different one-shots that led into the ongoing Power Company series. And so this one was purchased April of 2023 for $660 on Heritage. All right. And you can see at the bottom that the art is credited to Tom Grummett and Mike Bair. Beautiful, slick inks. Really, really love the Mike Bair over Grummett inks. Gorgeous, I find. So $660 in April 2023. And then 2 years, 11 months later, so basically 3 years later, sent it to Comic Link. Here we go. Yeah, so bought it at Heritage, sent it into Comic Link, and on Comic Link, shockingly sold for $3,000. For a net profit after the 10% seller fee of $2,040. So he spent $660, got his $660 back, plus another $2,040 on top of it for a 309% increase on his return on his investment. Yeah. So very, very lovely, very, very nice. Let me applaud you, Mr. Seller, whoever you are. There you go. You get some applause from Peter as well. But let me look at some of these comments, and then I'm going to have to tell you guys something. I've mentioned it before. I don't know how many of you caught it and how many will remember. But I got to tell you something about the art. So Tom again. Oh, man, so awesome. That one is a very nice one. I like it. Bargain. Yeah, for that price, it was definitely a bargain. $660 for sure. For sure, you'd buy it at that price. I can't. I see why Jeff loves him. You see what I'm saying? Jeff Singh, baby. Big Nightwing fan. Just refuses to show his Nightwing collection. Manhunter greater than Man-Eater. If you're talking about Michael Sembello, was that who did Man-Eater? Oh, no, Man-Eater... Daryl Hall, John Oates. And I agree with you regardless. Mark says, nice cover. It's priced just right to white out the ponytail. Yeah, gosh, I wish it didn't have that too. Would Ruben track Grummett? You mean track Grummett's art? I mean, I guess I do. Now we know why Ruben is holding on to Grummett art. He's sitting on millions in profits. Hardly. Buyer got it for a steal, for sure. Ruben should have bought this one at the time. Well, I'll tell you something in a minute, and you'll kind of understand why I didn't. A rare example that it went from Heritage to C-Link for the return on investment. Yeah. MLB says, sure, some sell privately, but there wouldn't be all these auctions and dealers and cap galleries, etc., if that was the most common. Exactly. The likelihood is that in these, especially in these shows where we show the resales taking place in a short period of time, yeah, it's very likely that it's the same person, you know. Don't you think that's just a normal bump? 660 to 3,000? I don't think that's a normal bump. For the time gone by, that's an average bump up. Jeff Trolley told Ruben to back off. Okay, so what I want to tell you guys, first of all, the reason that I didn't go for it at the time is because, so while that cover is pencils and inks, okay, remember, it's credited to Tom Grummett and Michael Bair. And so what I showed you there, let me show it really quickly again. Okay. So what you look at on the left-hand side, okay, obviously, if anybody who is familiar with Tom Grummett's art, you can see it's Tom Grummett's style. And you know that it's Mike Bair, and you probably like the nice, slick inking, shiny inks of Mike Bair. Okay. The thing is that on all those one-shots, Tom Grummett drew them and sent Mike Bair a scan. Or not a scan. What was it? Did he send a scan? Or a photocopy of the art? I can't remember. But what happened was that Mike Bair, again, remember I did say there's pencils and inks on it. The thing is that even though it looks like it's in the style of Tom Grummett, on the boards themselves, the ones for these one-shots from Power Company one-shots, the ones that you see inked, okay, because there are pencil versions of all of them, okay? I own some, okay? I own some of the pencils. I also own some of the Mike Bair inked versions. So what happened was the 8 covers got penciled, so there's 8 penciled covers, and then Mike Bair light boxed, either again from a photocopy or a printout or something, some kind of printout. He light boxed Tom Grummett's pencils. So what does that mean in terms of physical media on the board? Right? Yes, there are pencils. But they're Mike Bair tracing off Tom Grummett's pencils. So that's why it looks like Tom Grummett's style. But in terms of the physical media on the boards, those inked ones, you're getting Mike Bair inks over Mike Bair pencils that were put on there because he light boxed the Grummett pencils. So that's what that is. And unfortunately, I bring this up because, you know, it's not the first time I've mentioned it on one of my shows. I bring it up again because I've said this a million times. I am and have always been all about full disclosure in this hobby, especially. It's not cheap to get into the hobby. You got to know what you're buying, right? And a lot of people, they won't disclose exactly what they have when there's, you know, oh, inks and pencils are only inks, but it's over blue line, whatever. And that's the thing. So I'm all about full disclosure. And so therefore I listen, not that many, you know, it's not like the whole hobby is ever going to watch this and hear me say these words and explain what happened there with that cover and with the other Power Company one-shots. But if I can even save one person, you know, the trouble of sort of maybe buying something they thought was something else, you know what I mean? Because the guy that paid $3,000 for that piece, remember this guy here, right? Great for the seller who made off like a bandit in profit, right? That's fantastic, right? But clearly he didn't tell Comic Link, or maybe he didn't even know how the cover was created. That's the thing, right? So this guy who paid $3,000 for it, I hope he loves it. And I wish I could find out who he is, because I would talk to him. I would love to talk to him and explain what he really has. And I would try to reassure him in terms of value. For me, Mike Bair is a fantastic artist. I love his work. So the thing is that, Mike Bair is not some guy who, tons of collectors have followed him and collected his work. Just like Tom Grummett, it's always been a small amount of people that have gone after his stuff. So for me, you got a penciled and inked Mike Bair, cool Nightwing and Manhunter cover. I've got the pencils, the Tom Grummett pencils for that cover. Okay. But I feel like if you felt $3,000 was worth buying a Tom Grummett inked by Mike Bair cover, I'd like to let the current owner know that, in my opinion, and it's just one guy's opinion, but I'd like to let you know that, to me, regardless of what the price was, I think a penciled and inked Mike Bair cover of the same content, right? Nightwing and Manhunter. To me, that should be roughly worth the same amount as a Tom Grummett penciled and Mike Bair inked cover. So if you ever watch this, you hear this, I hope that you're not too upset with what you bought. I hope you knew what you bought, but if not, now you know, and there you go. It's about full disclosure, like I said, everybody. So everybody should know. And the problem, Peter, when these things happen is people, even when they find out, right? They find out, right? The disclosure is made to them after the fact. They get upset. And if they get upset, they become dishonest, and then they turn around and sell it because they don't want it anymore. And they send it into auction without telling the auction house, the disclosure that they became aware of, because they don't want to risk any, that people think, hey, it's worth less, Yeah, which is a shame or whatever. But I can only I'm only one guy. So I do what I can, and that's it. So at least here I can make it known that that's what happened. Well, hopefully somebody out there will see, and hopefully word gets around. And if it ever shows up, if any of those one-shot covers from Power Company ever show up, and they're, the inked ones, and if they're listing it under G for Grummett, and there's no explanation about the fact that it's Bair light boxing, Grummett's pencils, then hopefully somebody will reach out to them and to the auction house and tell them,
Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising that a seller might do that. Want to sell it because when he learns how it was actually produced, and then not disclose that to the auction house.
Yeah, for sure.
I can certainly understand that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that, but I can understand why they might do that.
Yeah. Tom Petty, the picture on your cover screen is from Gainesville, Florida, from my alma mater. Go Gators. All right, what's up, Al? Welcome back. What this confirms, says Mark Fong, is that we are in a very select hobby with a small number of buyers. There's small number of investment-grade art which attracts the deep pocket buyers. I don't know if that has anything to do with that example we just shown, though. Hashtag collecting down. No one covers like a bear. Barely got that joke. Are you talking about Beth Bair? Because that's how she spells her name. She used to be on that show, Two Broke Girls. That used to be very funny. I used to enjoy that. I started buying Blue Lines, tremendous value, but last few auctions, they skyrocketed compared to what I paid. Similar content, same artist, kind of strange. Could be just small sample size. That could definitely be it. I was like that much for Blue Lines. Went for same or more than I would think pencils should go for. It happens sometimes, occasionally, Okay, so with that, let me go to the next one. Let me see. Only a couple more to go, everybody. Couple more to go. Here we go. Next example up on Insanity Wins is this one. So the Sensational She-Hulk, purchased in February of 2019. So 13 months before COVID hit us. Paid $5,280. It's Mike Zeck, but inked by Keith Williams, as opposed to, and back in those days, usually it was Mike Zeck either inking himself or with Beatty, but usually himself. But either way, $5,280. Personally, I never kind of liked this cover all that much. I don't feel there's enough solid blacks. It's too pale. I mean, She-Hulk essentially blends into the, into the Dragon Man. Yeah, I think they statted the cover and added Zipatone onto the stat. That's probably why it got finished. It got finished on a stat, most likely. But anyways, so $5,280 is the price paid in February of 2019. And then the cover was held on to for a good solid 3 years and a month. Sent to Comic Link. And it sold for $9,200. So even after the 10% seller fee, the reseller got their $5,800 back and a $3,000 net profit on top of that. I think that's solid. It's a 56% gain for him, and I think that's pretty solid for reselling at auction only 3 years later. So yeah, I think it's very solid. That's like, yeah, I mean, again, when you think about the fact that most of the time, reselling less than 5 years later at auction makes you lose money. I mean, $3,000 profit is a far cry from losing money, 56%, almost 57% gain is a lot. It's a far cry from, a negative 1% loss or more, Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's a good job.
Yeah, so exactly. There you go. Hey. Some applause to the seller. Good for you. Turned out well. And Zeck cover would have gone up tremendously. Yeah, the name alone is not always the thing, though. Whoever did the overhead layouts for the art really sucks and covers the head. Yeah, but you can tell it's a fake. It's one of those homemade crappy replacement stats, Alberto. That's why. So, yeah, you gotta. It's a lot of work to carefully try to do the work of tracing out the Dragon Man head on the stat, so that you can then cut out the stat in the shape of the Dragon Man head, so that it looks like the his head is in front of the logo. And so 2 fine lines, exactly, CJ. Yeah, not enough solid blacks. But like I said, it's probably because of the fact that he appears to have added a bunch of Zipatone, but only decided to do it on the stat instead of on the original art. I prefer that Billy Graham cover, but anything 70s, 80s, 90s Marvel cover is $6,000. At $6,000, it seems. I mean, stuff from this era, I guess, MLB. I think it's terrible. If I asked for a She-Hulk sketch, I wouldn't want to see her like this. I don't know. She's got her fans. She's got her fans, like, both in superhero outfits. There's fans that like to see her in jogging outfits from the 80s. And believe it or not, there's people that like her in that, mini skirt, Jen Walters lawyer suit, And it could have hit 10K with the proper stats. No. Seller should have spent a little money and had proper stat made. I don't think it would have made that kind of difference that you guys are talking about. But nevertheless, everybody, we are down to the last example here on tonight's episode of Comic Art 101, episode 18, subtitled Insanity Wins. So let us see what we have on this last one. Check it out.
Oh,
Whoa. A Mark Texeira page from Wolverine number 68. And this was purchased at Comic Connect in August of 21. So this is at the time that the market is definitely booming. People, by August of 21, many records have been set in the original art hobby and the comic book hobby. So yeah, so $1,500, and oh, look at that, James coming in to say he used to own this one, and Tom saying great price at $1,500. I don't know, was it great back then, or was it the fair price back then? I genuinely ask because I don't really know. I can't really remember. I have vague memories, and my vague memories kind of tell me that these pages were somewhere in the 1,000 and change range at the time, you know? Rick says, killer page, but you can't keep them all, James. Indeed. Bought it off eBay for $1,900 after this sale. Interesting. So here we go. Tiff is going to like this because we're going to get to see what happens with the sale, right? Like, okay, let's see what happens, and we'll see where James's involvement comes in exactly. Okay.
I mean, Tiff had a good point. We don't know, you know, whether there's an intermediate seller or not. Yeah. Buyer. Yeah.
There's no way to know unless people tell us, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take a look. So August 2021, and he says it hit eBay. So the person supposedly, and who knows, maybe the thing I'm going to show you next, the next slide, it might actually say eBay. I don't even remember. So it might be eBay. I don't know. So let's check it out. Let's see what happened. August 2021, $1,500. Then, boom! It sold. Okay, interesting heritage. So in between this, James bought it for $1,900 on eBay. So that seller had sold it initially, paid $15, sold it for $15 on eBay, minus the roughly, let me see, $1,900 minus 15% total fees on eBay. Yeah, he would have profited about $100, so a negligible profit. And then, so James, can you tell us, are you the guy who then sent it into Heritage? Are you the guy who profited here, selling it for $4,800? Let me jump into the chat and see if you guys have talked about it. Let me see. Oh, James says, I sold it later to a guy who begged me and gave me a sob story, and then he flipped it at auction a couple months later. Ah, one of those assholes. Sorry to hear that, James. I hate those liars. Those mofos. But okay, so interesting. That means that two separate, two other people owned it in between this. And check it out. In these two different slides, we're talking about 2 years and 8 months, right? Only 2 years and 8 months. But in between these two transactions, 2 years and 8 months apart, James has kindly and graciously offered us the amazing information that it bought and sold again twice in between these two transactions. So very, very fascinating, and thank you for that, James. That's really cool. But nevertheless, it ultimately still has value here. And what we're showing is that if you had, it just lets you know this is what could have happened. Had you bought this for $1,500, right, in 2021, and sold it, if you held on and sold it for held on for 2 years, 8 months, then you would have profited, got your money back, your 15 original 100 plus after fees, a profit of $2,500 on top of it, which is a very, very sweet return, right? So yeah, it goes to show something else we can learn, fellas. Something else we can learn. You know, we now know that these two transactions we saw that we're looking at here, right? This one, 2021 August, and then April 2024, it changed hands 2 more times in between. So that kind of tells you, right? Like anything can happen. The next person after this ended up, well, this guy, the guy who had bought it here for 15, again, appears to have sold it on eBay, and he only netted about $100 profit. Okay, and that's where James won it from that guy. And then James kindly sold it to a guy who begged him for it. We don't know what he paid because James didn't offer up that information, but that guy then flipped it. Hey, James, do you mind telling us at least how, you know, did this guy make some money? Did the guy you flip it to, who then flipped it here and sold it here, did he make money? And if so, how much?
So the James, the original seller bought it for the original person bought it for 15. James bought it for 19 off of eBay.
Yeah,
so 100. The guy made $400.
Well, no, because I'm minusing the roughly 15% eBay fees.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay,
Right, eBay and PayPal together.
Yeah. He made more than $100. Yeah, okay.
It was just $111 or something like that.
Okay,
That's
and
what it
then
was.
yeah, okay.
Actually, 115. So if it sold for exactly 1,900, let's say you remove 15%, it leaves you with 1,615. So if you paid $1,500, that means it's $115 extra that he took home. And then James owned it after that, you know.
And James said how much he sold it for.
Okay, so let me get back down there, guys, and everybody lamenting, feeling bad for James. Hey, look at that, Evans. His name is Evans, Evans. Everybody. Not my favorite Wolvie artist, but that's pretty nice. Good to see you, by the way. I hope you're feeling better. How you feeling? How you feeling with the long COVID symptoms? Any improvement at all? Man, I hope so. Let me see, Marcus. But I'm a real fan. Please sell it to me. There you go. The damn mofos at work again. They work James, you know. That was your first comic, Marcus? No, I know you're talking about the guy who begged them. Oh, it's for my son, says Rick. Very messed up. But that's why you should never feel bad for those people. Just assume. I know it's sad to say this, but like especially if you don't really know them, assume they're lying to you, and that way you'll only sell it to them. You'll only end up selling it to them if, you know, in your mind you're like, and do I need the money? Do I want the money? You know, do I even, you know, is it a piece that I'm kind of like, I can do without it? You know what I mean? And you'll make a better decision as to getting rid of it. And that way, if they turn it over, right, if they flip it, well, you can still get annoyed at them, but at least you're not going to get super pissed off because, again, if you go into it assuming they're just bullshitting you, giving you a sad story so they could probably flip it down the road, you know, it'll be like, well, there he goes. You know, I assumed as much. But as long as you don't sell at some kind of discount because you feel bad for them, that's where the mistakes are made. People that like sell it cheaply because they buy into the sob story, you know. But as long as you get a fair price for it, who cares if they flip it? It's kind of like, yeah, it's annoying to see it, but whatever happens, you know. You got your price. That's all that mattered. So. My son and I bonded over the violence. Wish would have kept the page. Oh, well, yeah, shit happens, James, you know. None of the sellers made money yet. Ditto that sentiment, Ruben. Always some scum in every pond, for sure. I needed the money for new countertops because I promised my wife. No, that's Carl Sodergren. He was selling art because he did have to remodel his kitchen. That is true, though. It's actually true. And he didn't beg people to, like, you know, take the art at expensive prices so he can make more money to pay for the kitchen. I lost my job. Yeah. We know all the excuses there, Marcus. So you think it was 26 to 28. Okay. Yeah, whatever. After the fees that are done and all that, that's not much of a profit. But listen, you learned something about the guy. You spread the word amongst your contacts in the hobby. You know what I mean? Always spread the word, you know, these kinds of people. Let people know. Yeah, those kinds of people, you know, you can't trust them, you know? So, been a while. Yeah, no, I get it. James always makes the big bucks, though. He knows what he's doing. He buys the mutant art. It's hard to not be able to be able to not make money with X-Men art, you know? Needed the money to pay alimony if the contractor backed out for the countertop. I needed the money to buy my son's love on my few visitations. Oh boy. Then you also do some acetate variants. I don't know who you talking to. Hello. Rob loves some text. A lot of people love text. Still the same. I have to keep a routine of proteins and salts, okay, to feel somewhat normal. Okay, well, I'm glad there's something you could do, you know? At least it's something's better than nothing. A lot of people suffered and there's nothing they've been able to do. So just trying to look at the bright side, you know. Been a while since Rob's been on. Got James with the plot twist. It was Ruben, you got me. So funny. You guys are nice. Op Story tells me they really, really want it, so I don't have to move on the price. Oh, there you go. Now you know. And knowing's half the battle. Anyways, guys, that was, as I said, the final example. So once again, to you guys who secretly watch, who are part of the people who have been featured on my various shows, whether it's Stop the Insanity or Insanity Wins, and you watch silently maybe, that's okay. If you're listening and you're watching now, I hope you guys enjoyed, you know, what you saw. I again, for the second episode, sharing the love and giving props and credit to the very rare times in which you flippers and investors and speculators sell quickly at auction and still make money. So I hope you guys appreciated that. And yeah, I want to be fair to everybody and give credit where it's due. You guys don't make money often doing that, but at least when you do, at least from time to time, I can show some examples. So there you go. And for the rest of you, of course, as always, man, you guys show up to all the shows. So thank you as well. Obviously, as always, always a fun time hanging out with all of you. And come on, Lee says, "Oh, was Peter there?" Oh, you bad boy, Lee. But yeah, thank you again for also being patient with me, and while I did the new taking it to the H&L segment in the middle of the show. I appreciate that, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you will enjoy whenever I end up doing them in the future. I think it's kind of a nice, cool, fun little thing to do where it's kind of in the middle of any given show, whatever show it is. Take a little intermission, if you will, you know, and focus on somebody's art, show a nice piece of art that I thought deserved more attention, you know. Do you need Felix to show up? For what? For what? I will say, get excited. I know Stanley wasn't here today. He's always here when I have things to actually tell him about Felix, then he's never here. Felix did reach out to me, and after, you know, he appeared on the 9-hour, 9-minute, 30-second show, and he reached out to ask me if a certain date in June worked for me. And so I said yes if it works for him. But in his words, I'm looking at the date. So it's not like he said, okay, it's open. I have that date for you. So I said, if that works for you, it'll work for me. So we left it at that. I said, let me know, think about it. Let me see as we get a little bit closer. Let me know if as we get a little closer, if it definitely works for you, and then and we'll do it on that. We'll do it on that date.
Well,
cool, hang out. Thanks, Ruben and Peter. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it very much. So everybody telling everybody to calm down. You guys are all very funny, but okay. Everybody, again, thank you. Don't forget to catch Nikki B on Friday for that bizarre Hulk. I didn't even remember what he said again, but those two sentences that didn't make sense. If you don't know what I'm talking about because you came in late, go back to my promos earlier in the show, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So thank you again, everybody. Peter and I are going to get out of here now. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it. Al, thank you again. Good to see you. Good night, Rick. And of course, last but certainly not least, Peter, thank you very, very, very much, my friend. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a fun time. I know it's not your typical kind of thing that you feel like you can contribute a lot to this style show, but I hope you still had fun hanging out and listening and shooting the shit and whatever. I had a good time, and I'm glad you were here with me. So,
yeah, I just never had a chance to speak, Ruben. But I did want to say thank you.
Don't blame me.
Thank you to James Siegel for giving us that insight into that last. Because that's pretty interesting. And I wanted to say I'm really feel sorry. I hope he gets well. The gentleman who has the long COVID. I mean, that's just awful.
Yeah, Evans. Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah, really, really often. Yeah,
that's
him. Evans Pizan. That's the guy I always used to call Pizan and ask him, hey, what do you mean? Is it pizza at .org? Is it Pizan, pizza? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, so feel better, Evans.
Yeah. And my recommendation is buy X-Men art. It's a better investment than war art.
I agree. I definitely agree. If you're into investing, don't go towards the war art. I would say that's a good piece of advice for sure. Thank you all, says Evans. And yes, okay, excellent. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the rest of you. Have a great week. Next show. Come back next week. Next week is probably going to go back to having another hangout episode, most likely. Hangouts are easier to ask for advice on stuff because hangouts are about everything and anything goes kind of thing. So there you go. Buy some ROM art, but not at $4,000 a page. If you're investing, I buy the $1,500 to $1,700 pages. That's okay for the long term, but don't be the guy buying them at $4,000 a piece in a lot of two. You don't want to be doing that if you're investing. Everyone should buy X-Men art. It's actually quite true. If you're investing, if you're speculating and investing, mutants, especially X-Men, Spidey, Wolverine, stick to those and you can almost rarely go wrong. But still, only for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Because we've proven many times over, you can still go very, very wrong if you don't hold the art, no matter what it is, no matter the character, the artist, the content quality. If you don't hold for at least 5 years, you usually will go wrong if you sell it at auction specifically. So, yeah. All right. Good night. Good night, everybody. Appreciate you. And like I said, have a great week. And I hope that I hope the weather for everybody is better than me because cold, rainy, freezing. It's this spring so far. I think it's going to be a wacky spring and summer for us. It's probably the way it's going to be for the rest of the year, but whatever. I hope it's better for the rest of you. Lee, hold her full later, man. Yeah, so that's it. So have a great week all again, and we'll catch you back here next Sunday. And as always, as I always say, you know what to say, Peter. Say it for me.
Go yellow.
Well, they are known as the Maize and Blue, so you're not too far off. Maize, baby, maize. But in all seriousness, everybody, thank you very much. Have a good one, and go Blue.